Meeting to order then at 6:04. And I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes from December 12th, 2017.
So moved.
Is there any discussion on them? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the minutes from December 12th, 2017, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, the motion passes. Irv, can you turn your radio down just a hair? The mic is picking it up.
Maybe even off.
12, 26.
All right, are there any additions or deletions to the agenda? No, you're gonna buzz instead, huh?
Then after that, it starts talking to you. So leave it on buzz.
Okay, hearing no additions or deletions, then let's move on to the reports, Highway.
Yeah, we had a good storm past 5 days. Lost the bed conveyor chain out of T3. I repaired it before. And a rock had got in there, in the sand or whenever it got in there. They damaged it before. We got through one storm, second storm, and let loose. Brought it back to the shop at night, fixed it best we could, straightened out what we had. But by that time, the damage has been done. A lot of things are twisted from the time before. So I ordered a new bed chain for that. It's about $560, $580.
Yeah, which vehicle?
T3. T2, the plow lights, believe it or not, have failed again. That's the Freightliner. I went to work early this morning to work on them. I just can't get them going. I'm going to work on it tomorrow, and if not, I got to bring them over to Catamount and have him take a look at it, because he was one of the people who put them together years ago.
Well, that's part of the issue that we had with that truck. You very well, doesn't know.
This Freightliner, yeah.
Yeah.
I have to order more sand. American rock salt is really hard to feel out as far as delivering. They're not like Cargill. Cargill like 2 days out, 3 days out when they're. But American rock salt, I've written down every time I've ordered. I've ordered 7 times, and I've gotten 4 loads. Yeah.
So they're not as reliable as Cargill in the delivery.
They're delivering us. No.
Well, I noticed on the
That might be
bottom,
good though.
I noticed on the bottom of the bill,
Stay on the budget.
That doesn't, I've been using a lot less salt. Believe me, I'd like to have salted them more, because we do have some rolled on now, frozen roads and stuff. But with the cold weather, we're not putting down anything, put down a little salt today. On the inside corner of Grafton Woods and up on at Wyndham Hill, because they're both bad traffic areas.
evidently you with the American Salt, you're having them call you, because I noticed that your phone number, your home phone number is listed as a call.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're asking them to notify you when they're going to deliver, or?
I have to town garage in my house, so I know when they're coming,
Okay.
because we lock the gate and the gate's locked.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Go ahead then.
Jeff Nugent has our thing all done. I'm meeting with him Thursday, our infrastructure, our culvert, and our conveyance waterways, maps and everything will be all done for Thursday.
Now, are the maps complete?
They'll be done Thursday.
Or they will be done?
Yeah,
So
but
the whole package?
all the paperwork is done, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just for my own
Well,
notification, that constitutes a network inventory, am I correct?
Network inventory is complete, done, everything. I thought I talked to Megan about it. I thought she was gonna email something, or Jeff was gonna email something.
Well, they made it by the skin of their teeth, because their deadline, their contract deadline was the 31st.
I don't, but it'll be done Thursday. I went down last week with my culvert inventory I had, and he had to put it on the maps and stuff, and I took his map down last year. He gave me one in 15, because I write it down on the map and the location and stuff, so I brought everything down there. He transferred everything to the digitizer, and he plotted it, so.
Okay.
Fantastic. So, and our bridge audit, we had a bridge audit since I seen you guys last. And Bridge 43 should be replaced. And to get the ball rolling, I talked to the state about it, that really should be replaced. And I'd like to put it in our budget for next year, coming year, for our $1,000 or $1,200
Copay?
copay
Do you honestly think we could get a grant that close to the other structures grant?
for the engineering.
For the engineering?
Yes, because everything has to be engineered.
Yeah.
And then in 2 to 3 years, I already talked to them about that. We're like number 7th on the structures grant now, so 2 to 3 years we'll be ready for another structures grant for that bridge to be replaced, which in turn will be right about the time that,
Do you think 42 will be done by then?
42 will be done with it. Yeah. And that's about all I got.
Okay, there are gonna be a couple of things come up tonight. You heard part of the discussion about Beck. We had asked Craig to try to get a hold of them to figure out, because their answer just wasn't really acceptable, just cause.
Oh, that's the
So-
answer I got when I called and asked about it. Yep.
So that's going to come back in case you hear some of that through the roundabout.
Right, and I made a phone call the day after, and there wasn't anybody there, and I didn't leave any message, and I didn't get back to them. It's the holidays, so it'll happen between now and, they're just gonna hold back on it again tonight. It'll happen between now and New Year's or whenever. It's been busy, as you know.
And another thing that's gonna come up tonight is the UniFirst bill, because they're starting to do their creep again. They're doing upsizes on certain individuals on the crew, and, oh yeah, we're an extra $4 or $5 every week now. So we're going to be causing commotion there. And then I think there's a lot of questions after last time, on the tire change. I said that word, it's not a 4-letter word. I guess tire is, but anyway,
$4,525?
okay, I won't say anymore.
And the other thing is, you, I'm sure, have talked to a couple of people, I don't know who's taken a good tour of the Sterling, but we do have one bid in place. I expect to have one more. I heard from somebody new this weekend off of Craigslist, so there may be a third or a fourth, because there was somebody right the same day we put the ad out. They are pinned up around town, and I know that at least one is local. Obviously, you talked to the guy from
That's the only
up
person I
north.
talked to, yeah.
Okay, so I think we'll have at least 2. The deadline is 4 o'clock on Friday to be in hand, basically, right before New Year's. So we'll see when the board wants to get together and open up whatever we do have for bids, and at least, look out. But it's 4 o'clock, and you may get a couple of people, pushing it. You may get a call, or check your answer machine. You may get a call, or somebody who wants to take a look at it. So, anyway, at least we have one bid.
Okay, back to the tire change.
Yeah, sorry. I wanted to get that in before things went on
This
camera.
is going to be a pain in my existence, so
Okay.
whatever they want to say. What's up?
It just seems like a lot of money to spend on tire changes.
How many sets did we get for $4,500? 10 sets. That's,
8 pairs.
okay. And they're all for the 24/5 tire?
Yes.
So how many do you normally go through in a season?
15.
15. And we go through 15 sets because we drive on blacktop roads loaded a lot? I mean, I'm asking you the question.
Okay, yes, we drive on blacktop roads. The trucks that travel the furthest go through the most. I go through about 3 sets a year. He put out over 500 miles these last storms. Okay, because he put new chains on after we put the new spring in the truck, wrote that down, fueled up his truck, got ready for the storm. It's pretty easy to check it because the fuel usage against the truck, against when he put the spring in. But over 500 miles on those set of chains. Now, I think you don't pay my health insurance. You don't pay Ed's health insurance. That's our insurance. I don't want to wreck a truck. I don't want to get hurt. I don't want to wreck a town truck. If I wreck a town truck, do you know how much anxiety and pressure that puts on me to make sure the town roads are in good shape now that we got a truck screwed up in a ditch? Londonderry just rolled over a truck this last storm. Huh, that's great. I don't want to be in that predicament. If you guys can do it without chains, I'll let you drive the truck and I'll ride with you. And you show me how to do it without chains.
I don't think any of us
When
was
we-
saying
when
we
we
have
had-
to do it without chains. I just think maybe there's an alternative.
Okay,
to
here's the deal.
chains.
I'd love to buy chains local. We did. We didn't even get one storm out of the chains.
No.
I've been doing this quite a few years. I used to use goddamn J hooks with a freaking replaceable chains, you'd be replacing those cross chains all the time. And now those cross chains are $7 or $8. A freaking J-hook, I don't know if you know what the J-hooks are, look like cobra hooks. You know, they're $4 or $5 for a truck, and you lose them all the time. We have replaceable center chains. We do replace chains, so we keep them going. It's not like when one breaks, we pull it off and they're wasted, right?
Yeah, my question has always just been about the fact that these cost so much per set.
They do. And
Against other chains I've seen online. Again, I don't really know anything about
let's look at wire size, type of wire and everything before we compare stuff that we don't know. Yes.
When we get to the part, I mean, what would constitute going out and driving the roads, plowing and sanding and salting? I mean, just any sort of weather? Or could we get to a certain inch marker?
We do. 3 inches.
Slippery.
Past storms, 3 inches. Ice, you go out immediately. This much ice means the same as that much ice.
The other day, we had 4 inches of snow, you guys put in 15 hours. Presumably in 15 hours, the tires are gonna keep rolling.
They roll
But we
the
only
way.
had 4 inches.
How long did it take?
It's still the same amount. I mean, 2 of you guys live right here in town.
You know?
People could go home for a couple hours, 4, 5, 6 hours, come back out. Be flexible as well as, I mean, when we're flexible.
People on Townshend Acres, I'll be flexible, so we can't make it up there.
Townshend Acres is, you know, people
It
have to
doesn't
realize
matter.
this is.
My job is
towns
to take care of the
and-
roads, Rob. That's
I
my
understand
job,
that.
right? And that's
And
what
it's
I
not
try
to
do
take
the
care of
best I
every
can.
individual in the whole entire town
No,
personally.
The main roads. First thing we do is I've been going to school on this, just like everybody knows everything here. First thing you do is you go pre-saw. What's that take? It takes you a couple hours to do, doesn't it? Set your brine up on the road. Then you go start scrubbing off the hills and stuff like that. And then to make a whole route around town to sand and plow the whole town, it takes, well, with the little truck, because the big truck was broke, you know, it's like 8 hours.
Last year it was 5 hours and you told us it was 6 hours once we got the fourth person.
And we didn't have the fourth person, what, 3 times maybe? And now I had a big truck down, so I was using a little truck.
We have a memory.
I
I
know.
can remember more than like the last week or two.
So what do you want me to do? Just ignore it and get it?
Do whatever you want, because that's what you're doing anyways.
Well, I try to do the best I can.
And we're not saying that you don't. That isn't a question. Just the more you drive, the more you keep going, the more the tire chains are gonna wear out, and that's what brought this whole situation up.
And what about the ice?
But
Yes.
at 15 hours,
What day was that?
that's getting you around about 4 miles an hour.
It must have
And
been.
it's 63 miles road, and you take 15 hours and divide it into it,
Okay, but if
you've got 4 miles.
so you go plow, then you go back in the sand.
That would be last Saturday,
Last Saturday.
went from 4 to 6, yourself did, 14 hours. Last Friday, Ed put in 15 hours, you put in, or not last, I guess 12/24 is the last day of the pay week. On Saturday, he put in 13 and a quarter hours.
What was Saturday? That was the ice storm, wasn't it?
That's the beginning of it.
So what my point is we got
So what is your point
ice,
when it
we
comes to
we
ice?
got 4 inches of snow and then ice after it, is what my point is.
Right.
So the first day it was 4 inches of snow, you took care of 15
Probably more
hours.
than 4 inches of snow. And, right.
Okay, so there was 6 inches of snow, there wasn't 16 inches of snow. is
So
what
we
my point is.
probably plowed everything twice and probably sanded twice. Not everything, but most things.
Anything else?
Can you just give me your best guess on how much sand and how much salt you've used so far this season?
I can give you my best guess. We're almost out of salt. We probably have 2 of our loads left. So probably 150 ton.
Of salt
Yeah.
and sand?
We used all the sand that I got last week. I don't know how many slips.
That's another thing right there. I could see sand on the flats, they turn around, come in and sanded it right over again. You're gonna use a lot of sand that way, and you're gonna waste it. Because if it's the flats, I can see the hills and the curves and that stuff, but on your flats, when the sand's showing and you turn right around and sand over it, that's ridiculous.
When did you have?
The other day, I went over State Forest Road, and a while later I went over it, and they'd been back and sanded again.
Was that the ice or the sand, snow?
Part
The
of
sand showed right up, you could see it from the first time.
One of the things the other day was in the 15-hour workday is one of your guys had the plow off 1 minute and then 3 hours later the plow was back on. So he started out the day with the plow on, went back, took the plow off, went out sanded, and then went back, put the plow back on, then went back out. And then by the end of the day, the plow was back off again. Do you know what I mean?
I do know what you mean.
I mean, if you broke the plow, then I could understand taking it
Plow's
off.
not broken.
Okay.
I wanted to keep some snow on the road because I knew the heavy rain was coming. Huh?
Because of the ice.
Right. And then we got a lot more snow in between, and he had to go take some of that because he had like 5 inches, 4 or 5 inches of snow in between on a couple of his roads, and he had to go plow them off, which was a mistake because some of the roads were sheer ice, and we had to. It was bad. But it's hard to guess when to stop plowing and when to keep plowing.
Okay, so Craig is actually looking up the Sosimo piece, the sand. I will say, I thank you for talking to the state about the common road, because it has only been sanded as far as I can tell at this point in time. So hopefully the trees will be in better shape come spring, and all that melts and runs off and does this other stuff.
Just take one copy for Steve or for you. Anyway, that would be, you gotta go to the top there, but that's just awesome. And it's on the
Last
last
year's
couple
tally
ones for this year, so probably
Sand.
probably 9:30, I'd skip that one, just up above, 11:11, 11:25, and 12:02.
What are you looking at?
I'm looking at these
I
three.
just handed a bunch of slips in
That way.
today.
But this-
Craig.
That's,
Huh? That one hasn't been paid yet. No, that one has been paid.
but this
I
is
was trying to
what,
say something to you.
Yep,
I just handed slips in today that we got last week.
okay.
So this-
That's
So
what
they're
we
not
used.
included on the warrants, huh? Yet.
so this
Bad
is,
storm.
these are, what-
Yep, that's
the
sand.
Sosimo?
Yep, that's just, yeah, it's just Sosimo, but it's just Sosimo sand. Those
Okay.
top three.
Okay, still doesn't give you any quantities. Gives you dollar amounts.
Yeah, we can divide by 13. I wish you put the quantities in there. Anyway,
I can't
yeah, I
do
know.
that
I
math in
can.
my
Okay,
head.
all right, well, you can do the salt, is this one.
We don't need salt, we got salt right in front of
Okay,
us.
all right, and that's it for salt. Just those two.
Okay. Again, you have to do the math, figure out how much was used.
Yeah, I'll give you that one too, just for the sake of it.
All right.
We can figure it out, it's not a big deal.
Is there anything else for Kurt?
No, I only used 100 tons, that's all. I ordered. I only got 4 loads.
I said there were some salt invoices in the warrants tonight, but that should show up on there, so.
Yeah, Kurt, I mean, I just want to say, I don't think any of us are saying that you do a bad job on the roads. I think you guys do a great job on the roads. It's just that we are concerned with keeping the budget as
I-
close to what we,
I
again,
also-
it's whether you can't forecast it, really,
And I
but
try to throttle, I do throttle back.
What was your estimate again for the money for Bridgewater 3 engineering?
Our money that we have to pay,
Right, for the engineering study,
probably $1,000, $1,200.
about 1,200.
Yeah.
I think the engineering on the last one was about 12,000, of which we kicked in maybe 1,200, something like that.
So it's roughly 10%?
Yeah, we should be on
Yeah.
10%.
It should be 10% now.
Right.
Okay, finally. Okay.
And we can look for engineers.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do that too.
Yeah.
Okay, is there anything else?
No, I got a job application here, it gives me, Larry Doobie. It would be nice to have a guy with a little truck just to do, I know the time thing, to use a little truck while,
Now, we're talking about our truck.
yeah. Then when I started here, there was 4 guys, we were down to 3 guys. It is handy on big storms to have somebody in that small truck.
Okay, and so have you met with this person?
I met with him, yes. He works for Bob Labrie. Probably think the schedule's flexible up there, I'm not sure.
And he has a CDL, or he doesn't even.
I don't need a CDL driver. He has a plow, I know he drives for Bob, his 550 Ford and stuff. He worked for a Goodell farm, self-employed.
Yeah, I don't want to do too much of this on camera.
Okay.
The one thing you want to do, if you decide that this is the person that.
I gotta talk to him. I gotta talk to him at the garage.
You need to talk to him at the garage, but then you need to send him in here so that all the paperwork can be done, so we have a record of his license, et cetera.
And another person I want, Joe Winrich. He lives in town here. He's covered for Brian White before on the snow blower.
On the Soul Road?
Yeah, and during the day, he can make one pass up and down. That's all he wants to do. Just make one pass up and down during the day, during the storms. But I think he should have an application filled out. And
Again, the same
Right.
information needs to come to the back
Right.
office so that the paychecks can be processed
Right.
properly. Okay, that would be fine if you wanted to contact him.
yeah, because, you guys filled it before for Brian, which is fine. But he should be on record of
Yeah.
working here.
Yep,
Okay,
if
so-
you would send
Okay.
either one of the two in, and that would be fine.
Are you guys having a budget meeting?
We're going to be doing it, yes.
I'll let you know when it's gonna be. They haven't decided on what night.
I
Why?
thought we were doing it after this.
Oh, well, okay.
Yeah, it's not what you're talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Is there, do you have a request?
Well, no, I got some information, that's all, for budget numbers.
Okay, okay, is that something that we can read, or
Yeah, pretty much.
you can just give it to Craig, and that would be fine, you've got it sketched out.
Or I can make a copy of it. If you want to keep that.
It's my area,
Okay. So is the weather gonna stop this crap?
Friday, maybe another one Friday.
So it's gonna get cold, freeze everything good and solid, so that nothing will move, and then turn around and do it again, huh?
I was sick as a dog for this.
It sounds like-
Storm.
Are you gonna need all three, or the other two guys to fix the chain in the lights? Or are you gonna have them maybe take a day off, or?
That's probably, I don't know, right now.
Well, I just think it
Two
would,
of us, it's a change.
to fit the fiscal obligation, I think it'd be good to start preparing for that. If we're gonna keep having weekend storms, take a day off Wednesday, Thursday. Obviously not if you have things that need to be fixed
I'd like to get.
or need to be
two
done.
guys on to get the trucks fixed right now.
But if we could,
I'd be more than willing to take
I don't think we'll try.
any time off right
you
now.
sound like you want to do a day off.
You sound like you could use a
Take
rest.
one, that's it then. There you go.
All right,
Okay.
is there anything on that list that you wanna make note of, or?
It'll be self-explanatory,
Okay.
isn't it?
You're Bridge 40, yeah, Bridge 43, got it.
I know everything is not gonna be, but these are some of my concerns right now. You can't read my hand scratch, just ask me.
Somebody else will, it's kinda like my husband's, you stand on the edge, sometimes you can get it, sometimes you
Well, I
can't.
didn't anticipate,
If you lose a little foot, it's like my hand,
I
right?
didn't
Just lose
anticipate you
focus.
guys reading it, I can read this.
No, that's always a good thing. No, I think if we have any questions, we'll get in touch. We've gotta take a look at how the numbers are playing out thus far anyway. And we just got word on what's going on with the schools, and it sounds like they're gonna put some serious pressure on the tax rate for next year as well. Perfect, as usual, right?
And that'll go through like nothing.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying that that's going to be a major driver for this year's budget for the town as well. Because I know some of the towns in the district are looking at double-digit increases in the education. So we need to kind of be diligent about what we're gonna put in the budget, what we're actually gonna ask them for. So if you had to prioritize on that list, what's number one on your list? Other than the engineering piece?
The first two things, well, shit. The gravel pit, it's a no-brainer. If they're gonna crush, you gotta up it $1 another per yard, you know what I mean?
Oh,
Another
and
20%.
We have half the money from last year.
Right.
But we have to add it to that also from last year, so we can get ditch stone because of these conveyance things for this Act 64. We're gonna be crushing anyway, so we might as well just add that.
That's what that says.
Yeah.
Okay, now I got it.
The 550, the little truck really should be replaced. That gets the tire beat out of it and plowing.
I understand that, but
That's way out of warranty now, you know, it's just the tire.
we just made the last payment on it, you know.
Nice,
Yeah.
good. And I got a full trade of it, you know. And yeah.
So that's the state bid price on.
This state bids just went out, they don't have a price, but we can piggyback on their price.
Okay.
And the equipment for that truck runs anywhere from 38 to whatever, so.
Well, I was
like-
gonna say, do we actually have to have all the major equipment that was put on that truck? It's gotta.
Oh, you gotta have a body, you gotta have a pump, you gotta have a sander, you gotta have a plow, and you gotta have a frame.
Yeah, but
gotta have lights.
you had especially done in the plug, didn't you, for that one?
No.
Right. Well,
You
we'll do it.
sand it all wore out?
Huh?
You sand it all wore out?
No, no, we can keep the sander.
That can be put on another truck.
Yeah, augers. I should replace the augers if we do that, but that's no big deal.
That's simple compared to the whole sander.
Okay.
All right.
Well, if you have any questions, we'll be in touch. Thank you.
Oh, is that your hat?
Thank you.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you wanna keep your head covered up.
Yeah. Have a good night, Kurt.
All right, then moving on, as we were kind of touched on, we have Sterling been some interest been expressed in the vehicle. I believe we currently have one bid. Craig set the deadline for New Year's Eve, I believe it is.
No, it's actually Friday, 4 o'clock, end of business.
Okay,
That's
so we
coming
did
Friday.
make it to New Year's. So it's the 30th. When would you like to meet to do the bids? You want to carry them over to the next meeting? Do you want to take a look at what we have? What format are we going to use with the bids? In other words, are we just going to open them at a meeting? What would you like to do?
I would, and not to jump in here, how you do it is up to you. I would at least like you guys to open them maybe a week from today, the day after New Year's. The people that are interested actually want to use them, well, want them anyway, would kind of like to use it this year.
Right, sooner
Get a
rather
plow
than
out.
later. Yeah,
Right,
exactly.
it's gonna be a winter, and they'd kind of like to use the plow and sander, kind of thing. I don't know what bid is, because it's in a sealed envelope, and I don't have a strong feeling that it's any too high, which is why I'm hoping we at least get 2 or 3. That having been said, the reason people are bidding now is they want to roll it.
Yeah, right.
And I don't think you want to do it Friday night. I don't think you want to meet over the weekend. That's entirely up to you. But I would say by next Tuesday, it'd be nice to give somebody a call if you get a legitimate bid. We're not going to have so many that I can't call the losers as well if somebody loses. So I'm not concerned about that. But if you get something and you're going to entertain it and you want to vet it out and get a cashier's check or something in the next couple of days after you look at what comes in, I'd say by January 2nd it'd be nice to. Shouldn't take more than half an hour, 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Come in here, open some envelopes, just takes a quorum. If it's complicated, make a few phone calls. If not,
When's the second one coming?
I don't know. I've talked to a couple of people that are really, 3 people actually that are interested, and a 4th who actually dropped off an envelope. I'm hoping that more than one of the 3 people that I talked to, and I think Curtis
Also,
talked to,
yeah.
actually gets, one of them sounded really interested. I hope he puts something in the mail. But they know it can arrive by mail, it can be given to.
Do you have a number of these people?
Well, the 2 that I have on email, yeah, I can contact them.
I think it'd be smart for us to have you contact them and tell them,
Just
at
a
least throw
reminder.
a reminder of a sending deadline.
Yeah, I can certainly do that this weekend.
Please
One
put
of
it
them may have come
together.
through your Facebook. I don't know what I don't know.
I haven't gotten any
Okay.
response
All right.
from
Okay.
from what I shared.
And I don't know how many calls or stop-bys Kurt may have had, but we had one guy come down from up north and take a look at it and talk to Kurt about it. And we've had one local individual express an interest. How you guys handle that? Where are you gonna set your bottom line? You know, what you're gonna ask for good faith deposit, or how quick you want the cash, or whether terms are available. That's up to you guys. But I would say that within the week, just because.
I think it makes sense.
That been put in any paper, advertised?
Not in paper, but that ad has been posted around town, a couple different auto parts stores.
That ain't the way that I understand the law. And if you have stuff for sale, it will be advertised in a paper.
Well, it's up to the board how you want to do it. We haven't put things in the paper before. We take them down to the auction house, or, and that doesn't always appear in newspaper either. The last truck we sold at the auction house, and that wasn't published. Kit sold it for us. Is that the last one? Yeah, I think that was the last one we sold. And this one wasn't advertised either. It was a trade-in on the new one. We basically sold it to Jeff Delury when we bought the new one as a part of a trade.
Well, I can see
That
that
was
as
part of that
a trade
arrangement.
in, yes.
Right.
But what I'm saying, when you're selling it outright, the law don't read that way.
No, I understand. I'm not sure what due diligence is. It's posted in more than 5 places. It's been up for almost the whole month. It is on the internet, and Kurt's been talking it up, and I've been talking it up as well. We do, I mean, it's hard to put an ad in the paper without a picture, and then you get into many hundreds of dollars. You know? So, we did put it online. We have posted it up wherever it would catch somebody's eye. And we do have some local interest on it.
I would think there's almost as many people going to Napa as read the Reformer or the other newspapers.
Well, yeah, the Commons is what we use for paper of record, but I mean, it has been around, and of course we've talked about it here on camera a couple of times. So, I mean, I hope that's not a defect. We certainly can.
Should we plan on meeting Tuesday, 5:30?
See what we
Quick
got.
opening bid, see what we got, and make the call.
It's fine with me.
Let's set, I would suggest setting a meeting schedule at the end of this meeting, see where we are. You may have a budget workshop or something that you want to set, and if that's going to be coming up, you know, Tuesday, Wednesday or something, or before that, then fine, do this then.
So, is that what you want to do, is wait until the end and see where we are with all the other pieces before we decide about meeting to open?
Sure.
bids?
Yep, that's fine.
Okay, so we'll postpone that. Okay, then, town clerk, I didn't see.
I didn't get one. I
Okay.
don't know if she actually put one in or not.
So there, you don't seem to have the counter money piece. The treasurer, Joe's not here this evening.
I did get this off of that. Elaine gave me this. I don't think this includes the 30. I think that's just in the, I think you can probably add 30 to that, because I think she just gets the certain account. not the check.
Okay, we assume that this number is, or the number in the bank account
That's a minimum,
currently,
anyway.
we hope, is $987,824.63, if that's correct. All right, then moving on to the warrants.
I'd make a motion to pay check warrant number 1 out of the payroll in the amount of $11,711.93.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of paying payroll warrant number 1 in the amount of $11,711.93 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
Abstain.
I'll vote in the affirmative, motion passes.
Make a motion to pay payroll, make a motion to pay warrant number 2 out of the payroll tax in the amount of $5,164.74.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of paying payroll withholding warrant number 2 in the amount of $5,164.74 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? The motion passes.
Make a motion to pay check warrant number 3 out of general fund in the amount of $17,843.71.
Is there
Second.
any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of paying general fund warrant number 3 in the amount of $17,843.71 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes.
Make a motion to pay check warrant number 4 out of the highway fund in the amount of $3,326.23.
Second.
Is there any discussion?
Is that bad?
This is UniFirst.
This is
Oh,
the-
UniFirst.
This is the UniFirst one. Okay, my suggestion is there's been an additional creep in the monthly charges for UniFirst. And that we instruct Craig to try to figure out what the devil's going on our behalf with this. I'm not gonna say what I said earlier, but what's going on with this.
You're not gonna say that?
I will, but what the devil. Every
We just talked to them
we
about this,
do.
right?
Every week it creeps. There's like a $5 or $6 increase every week, and we just, it's absurd. It's gonna stop.
This one's due
It's
to
a
a
good
preparation
business
charge that just doesn't show up,
Yeah,
but every
what
6
is,
months or
what's
so.
a preparation charge on a?
I don't.
Shirt.
So basically, I think what we should do is amend the motion to a dollar amount that excludes the payment to UniFirst, and then ask Craig to please take a look at that, or find out what's going on, and bring it back to us. And they can just wait for the money until they answer the questions,
I
because
agree.
this is getting old.
Yeah,
And we'll,
yeah, it's like they're counting on us to not really pay that much.
So, no, I've got it.
Yeah, I know you do, I'm just saying. I guess we
So
get that.
I'll make a motion to amend the warrant amount to $3,255.57.
Can I have that again?
Okay.
3,002,
3255,
Yep.
57,
57.
and Irv seconded.
Okay.
Is there any discussion on the amendment? Hearing none, all those in favor of paying highway warrant number 4 in the amount of $3,255.57 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes.
So
Make
main-
motion, pay
main
check.
motion is amended.
The main motion is
Yep.
amended.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
now we need to essentially
Should we-
pass the main motion.
Should we?
So again, I'll entertain a motion to
We'll do
pay
this in reverse order.
warrant number 4 in the amount of $3,255.57.
second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes. So yes, it's a dollar amount.
Yep. Should we ask Elaine to start holding those out as separate?
No, you want to pay them on a regular, if they're in the $66, again, this is,
Right.
it was 66, it ended up at 90, and we throttled it right back.
Right.
So,
Make a motion to pay check warrant number 5 out of the equipment fund in the amount of $3,837.42.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of paying the equipment warrant number 5 in the amount of $3,837.42 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes.
Make a motion to pay check warrant number 6 out of the highway fund in the amount of $2,154.49.
Yes. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
This is the Beck.
This is the Beck bill, and we were unable to get in touch with them with the holidays, so
We try again.
we can try that again. So, all those in favor of paying highway warrant number 6 in the amount of $2,154.49 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, opposed?
Aye.
Abstentions? The motion fails.
Make a motion to pay check warrant number 7 out of the equipment fund in the amount of $4,525.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of paying equipment warrant number 7 in the amount of $4,525 signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed?
Aye.
Abstentions? Motion passes. Okay, that takes care of the, whoa. That takes care of what bills we had. And we don't have any members of the public. There was no correspondence that I was given, so I'm assuming there's none. So now we're down to the budget. Now, would you like to do this as part of this meeting? Or would you prefer to get together and do a special meeting to discuss just budget? I don't believe there's anything else to discuss tonight. Is there? That I'm not aware of, that's not on the agenda?
I don't have anything that formally needs to be
So
brought
what's
to
your,
attention.
what's your pleasure? Do you want to just work on the budget?
Yeah, we can work on the budget.
All righty. So you all should have gotten handouts somewhere in this mess with the two dates. You were also handed,
Right, I did just get, yeah, you all have new.
yeah, if we're not gonna do it as a workshop, we're gonna keep Richard here. He's gonna be bored, but that's okay.
You have a sheet from Clerk, and you have the sheet from the listers with a letter attached.
Right.
Or a note on each, I should say, note attached. I did receive from the library, and we've just put that into the system. It's not off, it's off on us. It's something you guys generally review until afterwards when you do the warrant.
We decided we wanted more information on that. That's not on the agenda. The Wyndham Solid Waste
Yeah,
piece
So, yeah,
yeah.
that we decided we were not, until we had more information on it, we were not going to sign it. We were going to take responsibility for the,
Right,
the
and I don't
dumpsters.
I don't have anything definitive from Triple T either. The two things that I had to do in last week I didn't get, which was back at Triple T on a roll-off.
no. All right, so, on Kurt's, he's saying that his quote-unquote priorities would be increasing the amount of money in the gravel pit. So let's go to the highway, let's start with that anyway. Because we really didn't touch much of the highway.
Yeah, I should say 1226 on the upper left-hand corner.
Yeah. So gravel crushing is on the top of the second page of that grouping. And there's 25,000 in this year's budget. We normally set aside 50, 2 years, 25 per year. And he's saying now,
It says hammer before crushing, 6 to 10,000 before we get crushing prices to break down ledge and stone to crush. So he wants to get an excavator with a hammer on the end of it, make a big rock
but
into a small rock.
what's that?
6 to 10, either dollars or yards, one or the other. 6 to 10,000.
Okay. Do we know if that's money?
Yeah, there's gonna be money involved in that. 600 yard gravel,
What's it
1
gonna be
stone,
money
3/8 and 5 inch. He also wants ditch stone. So, I mean, that's bigger stuff, so that's gonna have to be broken in a different fashion.
So is he, but my point is he asking for six to $10,000 in addition to the normal 25 or doubled to go with what we've already got this year? We've got 25 in this year's budget.
yeah, I kind of read.
Yeah, he's looking at adding another 6 to 10. So normally you would add another 25. You have 25 in the bank, and it's
Yep.
basically in reserve. Now you've got 50, that's the bare minimum generally that the crusher will come in and do a decent job and make a big pile. I think he's asking for another 6 to 10,000 in advance of that to break up ledge and make some bigger stone. Because we're gonna need some bigger stone.
For the
Ditch lining
Yeah.
and the bank erosions and things like that, this whole.
the stuff that's coming out as a result of
The municipal general plan, or whatever it's called, that Jeff mentioned.
Yeah, but he wants to crush that ledge on top of the gravel.
He wants some bigger stone. He wants some bigger stone than what's in there, I guess, or not round stone. So my guess is, yeah, he wants something in there with a hammer, and he's looking at, instead of 25, maybe 30 or 35 in the budget for this year to go with the 25 you already have. So instead of 50, maybe 50,
But if it comes out too big, they ain't gonna crush it. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, well, that's why he wants the hammer, to make it smaller so it fits in the crusher.
Now, unless you keep a hammer right there when they move that, you're gonna find big stuff in it.
So just don't get the hammer?
What's that?
So just don't get the hammer?
Hey, it's up to you, but you get stuff that won't crush, you won't go through the crusher.
they put it on the sides. I mean, we've got a lot of big rock on the sides that they can't process out. I mean, where's the ledge in there anyway? Is that up, way up at the top?
All the ledge comes up 6, 8 feet.
I don't remember seeing ledge in there, but I guess.
What they did last time, they backed the crusher up,
Right.
and they set up this next level, well, they're going on the ledge right there.
Okay, all right. Didn't know they were down the ledge right there. Okay, well, anyway,
whatever.
I'm still confused about how much he's asking for, so somebody just,
I do believe that.
Interpret.
Let's say, I think he's asking for 35,000 instead of 25. Normally you put in 25, I think he wants 35. Not 50 for crushing, but 50 for crushing and another 10 for
Another 10
excavator.
for, okay.
But when we put this money away, if we put the money away, it's
Right.
going towards them crushing, it's not material.
It can't- it
It's
can't-
their
Well, it's going
man
to- it's
man
gravel pit.
hours of work.
It's
No.
gravel pit money that will go to an excavator, 10 of it or
Yeah,
whatever.
Yeah,
It's
no,
just the equipment running, it's not
But
buying it.
that's what it's for, and they can't use it for anything else.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
But-
So it should almost be on a separate line of.
Well,
wait
it
for
is,
the
it's on
crushing.
gravel crushing, but it's part of that gravel
It is,
crushing.
it's always in a reserve,
No, but,
if it's not used for crushing.
yeah, exactly, that's what.
It goes into a crushing reserve, which is where it is now, or where it's gonna go.
so then we would need to
Make
add.
that 35.
So make it
There
35.
isn't a number there right now.
No, it's zero,
Right.
because you haven't.
So
voted
so
down.
we need to bring that up to, I guess, what, 35?
35.
Yeah.
All right, and then his other one is the truck, and this is where it gets really funky. He's getting a brand new loader this year. Now he wants 38,000 for the vehicle itself plus all the additions.
Right, which is another almost 40. You're looking at almost 80,000 for a 550 outfit.
But we just decided that the sander could stay?
Well, okay, and then you may be able to back that off. I wasn't, yeah, I don't know how much that is.
So-
But basically, the 550 that we bought was about 75,000, 76,000 when we bought it. And Housatonic plow may be an off-the-shelf plow. It just seems custom fit to the one we got, to the truck we got.
Well, again, would we want to put that in directly into the budget, or would we prefer to have that as a special article?
I would tend to lead towards special article.
Yeah, I
Yes.
would too.
Put that in as a special article.
Okay, so what else is in?
Well, he's got the grader on there too.
Yeah, well,
That ain't gonna happen.
No, it's not.
I knew that if we give him a loader, the next thing he's gonna want is a grader, but.
Would we smart to start working towards the grader?
Huh?
Put a little bit in?
Well, that,
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't make sense to,
Well, I mean, if we spread it out,
Putting-
let's say
putting
we
a
didn't
little
get it this
away.
year.
over the next
Yeah, you can do that.
few
I mean, you
years.
tell
Make
me,
it a little-
you're
little more
you're
palatable.
fiscally smart than I am.
the only thing that bothers me about raising money in anticipation of buying something like the grader is the fact that right now the town can borrow money cheaper than people can borrow money.
Well, I need some.
Okay.
Huh?
Well, I need some.
You need some?
The municipal equipment loan it caps at about 125.
Right, but,
So if you're looking at a $300 piece, right, but you can borrow, yes.
but we can,
You can't borrow the whole business, that's the
No,
problem.
no, I agree, we can't borrow the whole business, but it also hurts to talk about having to cut, come over here. To have to cut other things as we get into some of these other issues like the lister's budget or whatever, have to cut that to put money into a reserve for a grader that you're not going to see a return on for 3 or 4 years as well.
Right.
You know, and we're never gonna catch up, we're never gonna get out from behind the 8 ball and get everything we want at any time, as long as we're paying. The majority of our money is going toward payments to the schools.
Mhm.
You know, the town just kinda always ends up, behind the 8 ball when it comes to doling out the money. We could set up a reserve account, although I'll love that the next time we have another audit. But we could set up a reserve account if that's what you'd like to do, or we could put it in a special article as a reserve account specifically for a grader. We can do whatever you'd like.
Do we know why he wants to replace his grader?
It's getting,
It's like 13 years old. I think.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah, but it's had a brand new blown transmission in it.
Transmission's like this big and the machine's like that big.
I understand,
Yeah, but that was what, how long ago?
but I don't remember now.
6 years.
Is it
You know,
About
say
6
5,
years.
6 years ago.
We can go whichever way you'd want. I mean, if you do want to put money in, begin to put money in, then we'll have to decide how we're going to ask for it, whether we're going to set up a reserve account within the highway department, or whether we're going to do it as a special article.
And it's gonna be substantial if you start putting money aside. You're gonna, I mean, we're putting 10,000 aside toward a future pumper, and there's 200 and whatever there's in there now. It takes a long time to accrue, and if you're looking at a new grader within the next, I don't know, X number, say 3 years, you're gonna wanna put 50
That's gonna be a big
aside.
chunk.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're gonna wanna do, 50, 50, and 50, and then
Yeah,
borrow.
but would you rather put 50 in this year, or would you rather put 150 in 3 years from now?
Oh, 3 years from now, because I'll probably be retired.
See?
Exactly.
Yeah, we said-
I'll be in the retreat, in
We-
the corner room on the first floor.
We had a capital expenditure thing, but it got voted down. It was supposed to raise, and it was staying even with everything.
Yeah,
So you'd raise a little each year towards the vehicle, and
Highway's got $1 million surplus. and,
getting,
use it
England,
up.
some of them guys voted it, had it voted down.
Well, get him back here, we need to talk to him.
Well, but again, part of the issue is it is difficult when you're looking at the town borrowing money for heavy equipment investment versus taking it out of people's pockets. That's what it
Right.
essentially boils down to.
Well,
And
personally, I'd rather get hit a little bit each year rather than one big bomb down the road.
It's 3 years, yeah, I agree with you.
But you can go to the bank and you can float a note for 2% plus minus, and it's not that hard to pay it off. I mean, when
Yeah,
you're
but
paying
you-
off
If
3,
I
4
just got done
trucks.
saying it's $125,000.
that's for the bond bank.
That's for the state equipment bond bank, and that they cap out at about 125, and
Oh, so you're talking, just going to another,
the bond bank, you can go down to People's Bank down here and
Right.
say, hey, we've got taxes rolling in, we'd like to borrow, for X number of years. You still need to go to the voters because it's a long-term commitment. You can borrow from John Deere if you want. The interest rate's gonna be higher than the local bank,
Right.
but I mean, there are any number of places you can borrow money. The equipment loan fund is probably the best, or one of the best, in terms of it's easy, and the interest
And the
rates are about
interest
as
rate
low
is
as they get, right? But the town can do a fundraiser, you can finance things however you want.
We have a bake sale.
Yeah, well, bake sale.
We have a lot of cupcakes to buy.
No, we
I
don't.
got 25-cent cookies to come.
You got it.
I make really expensive cookies.
I've heard.
I don't think you want to put 3 and a quarter in this year's budget,
No way.
just for,
Well, I wasn't thinking that. I'm just wondering whether or not that's something we want to do as a special article, something we want to set up within the budget, a reserve account for, just how we'd like to, or ignore it completely this year. I mean, what's your pleasure? Because those are the major priorities on
And
there, other than the money for the bridge.
I tend to lean with Rob, like if we know it's gonna be coming at some point, the thing's getting older, it's gonna need replacing probably sooner rather than later. Maybe do it as a separate article and see if the town wants to look ahead a little bit.
Let the people vote on it.
Yeah,
50,000?
yeah, 50,000 for the next,
Right.
couple, 3 years, and then we'll see where we're at.
Whatever.
What do you think?
What do you think of?
I mean, you. him and-
No, I'm not saying that you shouldn't do it, but $50,000 whack, it's gonna hit your tax rate.
You betcha.
that's a couple cents on your taxes right now, at regular
We
rate
just
now. and
covered,
it's-
we just went through 125,000 on our last tax rate. So I mean, I'm pretty well sore from that.
Well, and did you really need to do that last year in April or March in order to get that lower? Because we haven't even put it up to bid yet. I mean, it's not necessary,
I voted no, the other people
Well, no,
voted yes.
I'm just saying that, yes, we do need to replace the grader. Kurt wants to replace the grader right now. Can he wait 3 years so you can accumulate 150 or 180 or something by putting money in reserve? Or
Right.
do you really not need to replace it right now?
Well, if you're guaranteed that you can borrow it for pennies on the dollar, then
Nobody knows where the market's gonna be in 6 months or 6
That's
days or
right,
6
that's
hours.
right.
I thought you were looking in your golden bulb over there.
Yeah. I've got,
Yeah, I just think, I think it would make more sense to ask the voters, put in 50,000 the next few years,
Contract.
rather than what happened last year when we put in
contract
125.
it
You can't do
out,
it.
hire it out.
You can only do it for 1 year. You can't ask them for 2 years budget.
No, I know, but I'm thinking that the next iteration, next year at this time,
Well, I mean,
We
then
do it
you
again.
can do it over again next year.
Right.
But you can't,
no, but yeah, I
can't do it all
understand
up front, that's 2 years.
So are we come full circle back to another special article for a grader? Is that where we are?
that. I think to set up a reserve fund for a grader.
Well,
That's for so much towards the purchase price of a new grader.
Yeah,
I would almost opt that you build that into the budget and then explain it from the stage. It's easier to do that way. You get too many special articles in the warning, and there are gonna be a few of them already.
Yeah.
They're gonna take you part of the day to explain and convince people on where you're going and how you're going there. Putting 50,000 into the highway fund and saying, this is just, it's like gravel car, we're setting aside for a year, 2 years, 3 years, whatever. This is going toward the purchase up. Let's have a discussion on the highway budget, which is, you know, high, but part of that highness of it is that we're gonna park, you know, a certain amount of money toward the future purchase of it.
okay.
You can, I mean, you
Yeah, that
can,
makes sense.
you know, maybe you need to warn it specially as a special article because it's gonna be longer than a 2 or 3 year commitment. But if it's gonna be longer than a 2 or 3 year commitment, then,
Then, well, if that's the
well,
case, we
then
should
you get
probably
down,
wait.
then you get
right?
down to, do you wanna start financing this in pieces and collecting it from the taxpayers, or you just wanna buy it when you need it?
So what was the final decision on that?
This doesn't work outright, I'm coming down to Florida and gonna kick sand on you.
There you go.
Don't take it back in the pocket.
You can take some sand back.
I was just, that's what I just said.
Right.
What did we just decide? Please, somebody explain.
Well,
to me.
I was just adding to the part of the debate.
I mean, I still haven't heard anything other than it's 13 years old and what's wrong with it. Does anybody know of any mechanical issues with the machine?
I don't
I don't
know.
know.
We go through a lot of blades.
It could be all at once, you never know.
Yeah.
That's the thing, you know, when they get just about so old that they start
No,
nickel back.
we just did some serious front end work. I know that the transmission is relatively new. It's actually not, I mean, it's not in bad shape. We haven't had any downtime.
Well, we don't use it, I mean, we use it.
We actually use it more than most towns use it. I mean, we're dumping gravel on the roads all the time, spreading it out. It's easier than digging ditches. Raise the crown. And then we salt it out, and we grade it again and rake it. I think we overuse our grit, but that having been said, I don't know of any, but I'm not a mechanic, I don't know of anything coming down the pike on it. I think it's in pretty good shape. But there should be a replacement schedule kind of on all these things that makes sense, so that you don't get caught with
And
it.
that's
Yeah.
fine until you get into a situation like we had with the year the board decided not to raise all the money that was anticipated because there was a glitch in the reappraisal plan, so therefore that went out the window and it's never come back. I mean, the best
I
laid
think-
intentions, you can't keep taking money and salting it away and then renege on what you've begun. So you've got to be responsible when you set it up as to this is how, at least as far as we can see in the future, this is how it should play out for whoever's in our seats come 5 years from now.
Right.
When that grader has to be bought.
Right.
I mean, that's.
Yeah, no,
I mean, I think the replacement schedule that we had 7 or 8 years ago on equipment, and it's different equipment, and obviously it's different years for different things. But I thought it was overly ambitious. I thought it was overly too soon. You know, you lose a lot of money per year for the first 5 years, but then you don't lose a lot of money in terms of the value. I mean, it goes down, and if you sell it after 5 years, you've taken about as heavy a depreciation as you're gonna take. But now we've got 4 trucks and we're not using one, so we have one up for sale. But this little 550 is only 4 years old. I mean, and maybe it does need to be replaced. Maybe a little truck does need to be replaced more soon than
We're going
the
back
bigger
to
ones.
550 or we're working on the grader?
I have no idea.
Well, I'm just
confused.
saying that. I don't know how long a grader lasts. I don't know how every town can afford to buy one at $350,000 a pop.
What do you got? What is it, about 14, 15 years old?
The grader? I can look it up, but yeah, it's about, I thought it was a 2000 or 2001, something like that.
Oh, if it is, 18 years old, you take another 3 or 4 years, 45, be 20-something years old.
Yeah, and the question, I guess, is what's the useful life of a grader?
About 10,000 hours.
And now you're talking a whole different language. Now you're talking about
Filter.
run time.
Yeah.
Filter, go look at Hobbs meter.
No, I don't know how to read run
Of
time.
course, I don't know what they put on it a year for hours.
Right.
But the life of the engine stuff,
Mhm.
it may go more than that, but 10,000 hours is the best part of it.
Okay.
But again, that's not information that we have. We have no idea how many hours is on the
Right.
motor. So, what is your pleasure? What would you like to do with the greater funding?
I think we include 50,000 in the budget. We will explain it.
You're gonna do a lot of talking, aren't you?
I don't mind talking.
Okay,
I like talking.
so,
Change the purchase price of the new grader.
Yep.
so we're gonna set it in as a reserve into the budget.
Yep.
And that
Yeah,
should
so
be,
it's
that's
going
gonna be
to
under
equipment.
equipment, right?
Yeah.
I mean, as a new equipment,
Okay, so what is the equipment?
I'll find it here, it's on page 3. I do believe.
Equipment expenses.
Now, you got equipment purchase, which is under other equipment expense. And we can morph that into a reserve account if you want.
So we would change,
Because the payments are in there, the interest is in there, this little section is kind of a miscellaneous section.
so we put it in at 304,000. Equipment purchase, make it equipment reserve.
Yeah, we can, well, it can be, yeah, toward, we can change the description a little bit toward, or add a new line. But that's where I put it, as another equipment expense.
Mhm.
Because it's gonna be a one, not a one-time, but it's gonna be a raising of funds
Right.
that's gonna be parked.
So we've got, so we're looking at 50,000, is that what we're talking
Yeah,
about?
and we can create a new column for it or a new line item or something, but it'll be greater replacement fund or something.
All right, so the only other thing on here that's really weird, and somebody explained to me, I mean, we'll put the money in for the bridge replacement when we go back to special articles. He's got guardrails, that was in the budget and then went away and then came back, and he never uses it, and you look at 70,000 for guardrails,
Is it 70 or 20?
I'm pretty sure that's 70.
Were they putting gold guardrails in?
Plated.
Is that only 20? Is
Well, I mean,
that-
there's not that much area, it can't be 70,000. I guess.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Probably
Yeah,
could.
I'm gonna say it's probably 70,000. We've got a number of them on little bridges and areas around town, like,
Right.
Well, he's talking about just
But he put also
Grafton
Grafton Road.
Road,
well,
no
yeah.
grant available, Lafayette's phone number,
Yep.
and then
something.
a number.
It's, I'm sure it's 70,000.
Somewhere between
That's,
20 to 70.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna say that's 70.
How much was spent the last time we did guardrails?
I don't think we've done guardrails.
He ain't done nothing.
We don't have something
We have-
scratched on a
we
piece
have-
of wood
we
stuck
have-
downstairs somewhere? and we'll-
Yeah, the
We have posts and wire.
time I put them in on Plum Hill, they were, of course, I found a place where you could buy used guardrail,
Yeah.
and the outfit set the post.
Yeah, this is a contract out job. I mean, we're not setting posts and we're not gonna be putting in metal guardrails. And
No,
they're
no.
not gonna
But
replace the wooden posts with
There's more than
wire.
there's more than just Lafayette, too.
Well, I'm sure there is. I mean, I would think. that
Or
we're
a
gonna-
lot, anyways.
Yeah. But I think, just on the hill, the Grafton Hill there going up, you probably have a half a mile of guardrail both sides. I mean, that you're gonna need if you add it up, and I can't imagine 70,000 is too much for that. Yes.
Okay, going back to the gravel crushing again, you have to look at the third item on this list. Because there we're getting into crushing for gravel and ditch stone, about 20% more per 100 yards. And then 600 yards. What the heck does that mean?
You want
600 yards of gravel, inch and a half stone, 3/8 stone, and 5/8 stone.
But on top of this, didn't we just add money, or is that just that $10,000 just for a hammer?
Well, the 10,000, that's to make this stuff up here, I do believe. That's what I was saying, is you wanna make ditch stone. You wanna make half inch and, or, inch and a half, 3/8 and 5/8. You want some finer stuff as well than we usually do. But he also wants some ditch stone. And that's what I was looking at up there to go with the numbers that come down below. I was merging the two of them together. That we need.
Right, yeah.
Right, you wanna put 25.
The bottom one is
You wanna
to-
put 25 aside for gravel, you wanna add another 10 for breaking up some rock to make some of this other stuff. When they're there spending the 50, you know, you may wanna increase their turn a little bit, but you don't want it all 1.5 inch stone or all 3/4 inch stone. You want it in some different sizes.
Yeah, okay, you do whatever you want, I don't care. Anyway, so,
Guess that makes it easy.
yeah, I guess. Like I said, that's not how I'm reading that.
Okay.
That's okay.
So you think he wants to add another 25, or another 20% to the,
I think what he was alluding to when he said that was the price has gone up for the crushing. And then we were going to have to increase what we normally put down by 20% both last year and this year, just for the traditional gravel. And then he wanted to do the additional stone.
okay. So instead of spending 50, you'd probably spend 60 to end up with the 50 that we got 2 years ago.
Exactly, and
Okay.
then you
And
still
then
have
one
to bring the
end.
hammer in to
Okay.
come to break out the
They
ledge.
They still got a bunch of crushed gravel down in that pit. That size pile of it.
Yeah, there's about a third of the pile left, I guess, or 25 or 30%, something like that. I don't know, I haven't been in there in a while.
I think I've ever.
So, do we wanna just let that sit where we put it in? Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine. All right, so going back to the first page then, no, wait, excuse me. Are we set that wages are gonna be frozen for this year?
Yes.
That's one out of
Sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
wages for this year,
Yes, frozen.
Yes, frozen.
for everybody or just the highway?
I think we're doing everybody.
So I'm just asking, we didn't come down to specifics, so we're gonna freeze wages across the board, all right? Any retreatments for next year? You didn't say a word about it, maybe.
Nope.
Yeah, but you're gonna have to.
Town barn,
get
sand shed.
behind.
Town barn sand shed needs paving inside, but that's not a big.
Why?
Second one up
For
from the
for the
bottom.
pigeons?
Why does the sand shed need to be?
So they're not peeling the dirt in with the sand.
But that's a really, really small, relatively.
I think that we should put some in, and also, like I said before, cover some of these smaller areas around. If there's a small area that needs a patch, or, you know, cover some of these, like I had said, possibly look at all-state material with that formula that they put on the Grafton Road heading to Grafton. Check out that, see if that's a viable resource to use.
Well, we don't do crack sealing, so what ends up happening is you get a crack sealing, we don't fill in the crack. What ends up happening is that little section, which is only 10 or 15, we wait until it destroys itself, and then we do
And we
half
do
a
that.
mile.
Right.
But that's where that rubber stuff that I was
That's-
saying from all states would be a good thing to just,
Right, come in, do 100 yards,
Investigate.
move down the road, do another 50 yards, move up the road. do a
Who picked the stone up?
who picked it up? What do you mean?
That stone don't all stick, there's a lot of stone there, somebody picked it up off that Grafton Road.
Like one piece at a time, or?
No, they, when it was loose, they swept it right out, I think into a windrow. They did down Saxon River anyways, and on that dump corner and stuff. But otherwise, that stuff's just going right up, your happiest stuff's going right out into the woods.
How do you know it's half?
Cause you look at them jobs, I've been around them enough. And
I'm saying this
the
isn't,
stone-
this isn't something that's, this is kind of, I don't
This,
think.
hey, this ain't something new.
Okay.
It may be new right now, but this was what they did before they started putting down hot mix. I worked on it for the state, right in West Townsend, and the flag and stuff back.
I didn't say anything about it
No.
guaranteeing it, I'm saying just look into it. And if it's a viable resource, we'll try to use it. If it's not, we'll stick to our traditional paving methods. You know, just something new, or not new, but evidently, just something to keep in mind. I mean, it's not, I wasn't dropping the gavel on it, Irv. Just
No, I'm
brought it up as
saying,
a,
you lose a lot of it. What I'm saying.
So what do we wanna put money in for retreatment? Like I said, you didn't ask.
Yeah, we've got to do some retreatment, or your roads are gonna be so bad that. if you
and that's,
don't-
again,
You
we're-
should be every 10 years, you should get over your roads, and they're not doing that.
well, again, we'd be in the same situation with the grader, where all of a sudden we spend 200,000, we spend 750, 70, whatever
Yeah,
the
no,
nomination,
that's right, yeah.
just keep up on it a little
To
bit.
keep up with it, because,
But to keep up with it, it's about a mile a year for the 10 miles or 10 and a half or whatever it is.
yeah, you gotta do a mile or just a fraction over one, because you've got about 13 miles of blacktop.
Yeah, so if you did a little over a mile
So,
a
but
year,
if you do a
it's
mile a
due when
year,
you're done.
If you do a mile a year, you ain't hurting too bad.
Long road, deeper road.
Somebody make a decision as to whether or not we're gonna put
What-
money in.
What
Well, what did we have?
what did we have in there last year?
80
There's a
grand
hundred
last
and-
year, we spent 76 or 72.
That's right.
I'll make the motion, we put 80,000 in
Second.
blacktop.
Don't need a motion, I'll just put it in. Yeah. 80?
Okay,
You happy with that?
I don't care.
No, we know you care, but are you happy with it?
I don't care. I am so tired, I couldn't care less right now. Okay, where are we here? Irene, all stuff, all special projects, that's where we're gonna need to put that money for, the bridge, for the engineering for.
We have restored that from last year. We did that today. There's 94 in there right now in reserve, 95. And the retreatment. I'm sorry, in the special reserve.
Again. We just were told that we have to replace Bridge 43.
Right.
We need to start a reserve project account for Bridge 43 if we're going to put the engineering in, don't we? If we're going to put money aside to do an engineering study, don't we need to put that down under special projects?
Yeah, but I hope they get somebody besides back.
Well, I don't think that's gonna be a problem.
Yeah, but
We will. It's
Look
just that
at
we
the-
have money in the special projects fund of 94. We're only going to spend like 25 of it.
I don't know, but
On
look
Bridge
at all the
42.
crap we went through on that.
It's going to leave us
neighborhood
about
and all
50 in
that
the
stuff.
special projects. Now, some of that can be used for other things.
was
But
just
I mean,
chapter
if you're
4.
looking at 10 or 12 for engineering this year, and our copay is going to be $1,200, then
So we've already got the
With
machine, we
silver
already have the
covered.
I'm saying
funds.
we've already got it covered. When it comes time to replacing that, hopefully, as he said, in 2 or 3 years, will be available, a grant will be available at least 80%.
For structure.
A better road construction grant, yeah. So I mean, right now, we have in reserve for special projects about $95,000, of which,
That's just not showing.
well, it shows on other pages, and we just actually restored it because we needed to move some things today with Lori. That having been said, there is about 95 in there. The bid price on Bridge 42 is 165. We're going to pay 20% of that, so about 32.
Yeah, but I hope they ain't just putting in another 16-foot bridge. You don't know all the money
And
to.
it's already engineered. Renault Brothers is fabricating it. Clark is got it.
No, that one, but I mean the next one.
Oh, the next one? Yeah, no, well, yeah, you need to
Yeah.
oversee some of the engineering on it.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
there's no way two cars can meet.
Right.
16-foot roadway, there's no way.
Well, that one's had some issues for the last 4 or 5 years, according to the bridge inspections, and it's gonna need to be replaced. Anyway, I think we have enough in the special
To get the engineering done.
to cover the engineer, our portion of the engineering, sure, easily, and also pay for what we need to pay for Bridge 42, and still leave us a little bit of healthy if we
A little
need
cushion
something.
in just in
Well,
case.
Yeah, stuff comes up.
Mm-hmm, yeah, exactly.
All right, so we're going on down there, the miscellaneous and silver. Do we know what that is? The 250 that was spent under expense, direct highway, or indirect highway?
Well, that's a budget number, the 250, and that's the budget for this year. Last year, we only spent $8.38.
So we don't know what that is?
I could look, it's $8. I don't know what it is, to be honest with you. It may have been somebody got shorted 15 minutes and we made up, I really don't know on
Okay.
that. I can't look it
Well,
up.
250 isn't gonna make a hill of beans difference.
No, it isn't, and that's,
Okay, so why don't we leave that alone then? Leave that 250 in there since we don't absolutely know what that is.
now the two above that, we did zero out, and I
Right.
think that was gonna stay as zeros.
Okay, and then the employer expenses, so we haven't done that, the wages should be comparable, I'm assuming.
Yeah, these numbers will probably all be the same. I mean, the numbers that are plugged in there are fixed, so the FICA tax should be about the same as it
Right.
was. I mean, it depends on how much they actually work. Unemployment's kind of the same way.
Okay, so those
But we
are,
can leave those the same.
yeah,
Okay.
so that would finish out the highway then, with those changes. Is that correct?
I believe so.
Okay, then let's take a real quick look then at the equipment. 'Cause that usually doesn't take very long. We've already gone through all the major pieces and plugged in money. Okay. And then we decided we were just going to put another 50 in for the reserve account for the purchase of a grader.
We can take the sterling out, right?
Yeah, it is basically
It's out.
zero. I think it's zeroed out
Oh, yeah.
for this year
Good.
coming.
So is there anything else that needs to change in the equipment other than the $50,000 reserve? Right?
Well, let's just see. Zero that, numbers there.
The John Deere 755 tractor, they spent $2,682.17, and we're budgeted for $1,500 in 2019. Should we try to bump that up a little bit,
Wasn't that the purchase of the new deck?
of the mower?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, this is lower.
Yeah.
Snow blower.
Yeah. I will look up a number for the equipment principal payments and the interest
Right.
financing. That's gonna be about half of what that is now.
Where are
For
we
which one?
currently? How many? Just one? left?
Just the one truck, and we borrowed 41, 42, something, so that over 5 years, we should be paying 8 plus interest. I mean, it should be somewhere about $8,500 instead of 14,500.
Did the reserve roll over on, yeah, the reserve on something?
How about the supplies on all equipment supplies? We don't have anything. Down at the bottom of page 2.
Oh, supplies parts.
Yeah, that's kind of a catch-all. Let's see.
So we catch all it to zero, or should we
Let me
catch
just-
all those crooked numbers?
Let me just see if I can, tell us where we are with that one, right?
That one normally, that has everything from the registrations to the,
Windshield wiper blade.
yeah,
It's where the oil, well, actually, I think that is where the
diesel.
oil, the 55-gallon drums of oil come in, kind of thing.
We're just using all the different pieces.
Well, we don't have anything budgeted for it, so we...
Let's just see where we are.
Yeah, we had 2,000 budgeted for this year.
Same with the international truck, we don't have anything on that. T9.
Well, I don't think we put anything in on the majority of them, because they weren't spending anything hardly. Of course,
Spent over $1,000. Budgeted for 7 next year.
well, for this current year, but I think we were looking at the current expenditures, which we don't happen to have a copy of right now,
Yeah.
for this year, and they hadn't spent any, not even more.
That's probably good oil, but we'll stick with it.
This is not ours.
So he spent $456. That's before the oils that we just voted on tonight, I assume.
On the equipment, all general equipment? All
Supplies and parts.
Yeah. Yeah, so far this year, we could.
Yeah, barring an emergency, this is where we generate year after year pretty good sized surplus. We always budget about 100K and we always end up with, well, more than that actually, but we always
There's
end up with something.
international.
leftover. As a rule.
600. So last year. Was that the one you just said?
Yeah, we just, there's nothing carried over.
Freightliner. He said he was gonna put lights in. Not the.
Well,
It was the Freightliner, was lights,
Right.
and it was the chain on that little truck.
Yeah. T2, wasn't it?
The standard chain is not on T2, it's not one of the big trucks. It's the one that Kurt drives,
Yeah. Oh,
which I assume is the newest truck in the fleet.
I don't think so.
The little one, I don't have the chain.
No, standard chain on T3. That is the new truck, that is the new truck. But I think Ed's driving that one, isn't
I'm pretty sure he's driving.
he?
the
T3,
truck.
yeah.
I did have a question on the reserve. We were going to roll over, when we actually purchased the loader, from that equipment reserve, there was a balance in that reserve fund.
Okay. I'm not sure which reserve fund you're talking
We had an
about.
equipment reserve fund, did we not?
We do, yes, it is at TD Bank, yes.
Okay, and we were going to use that that money that's currently in that reserve fund to help offset the balance of that loader that we didn't raise the taxes. We
Right.
raised 120 in taxes, and we were
Right.
gonna use the reserve fund to pay for the balance, is that correct?
That
Will that-
can be done. I'm hoping that will be done,
Well, I think
yes.
that was the discussion.
And
yeah, we
that's-
talked about not financing it.
Yeah.
Right.
My question is, will that finish out that reserve account?
There's about 29,000 in it, so it depends on the price of the loader and what we get in trade on the old one, on the condition. And as I was advocating paying off using some of that reserve fund to pay off T3 and to pay off the Ford. Now we have paid off the Ford, but for the last couple of years I've been advocating trying to use up some of that reserve money. But it looks like it will be used up for the loader.
For the loader.
Right, well, we've raised 120 in taxes. We should get maybe 35, I don't know, on
the old
cars
one.
used.
Yep.
If the new ones are 155, then we're probably okay. But we do have 29 or something in the reserve account at TD.
It's just not showing on here, that's what I was.
Oh, no, it won't show on there. That's off in different pages. That's a bank account.
Oh,
It's in a
right, so
bank. That's on your bank balance, balance sheet.
The question that was originally brought forward was the all equipment supplies. You now see what's been spent thus far. We don't have a number in there. What would you like to put into the all equipment plus the supplies?
I can tell you how we spent 6,000 in last year, but I'd have to
No, it's not.
go in and look really hard here.
Yeah, so like the backhoe and the International have numbers.
Now, let's not jump around because it gets really confusing. Right now, what we're looking at is all equipment being the general supplies for all equipment. That would be chains, that's going to be,
Right, I see.
Tire chains?
I thought that's where the tire chains were supposed to go, but I said that before that.
That's $5,000 right there.
Yeah,
I think that's where they're ending up because they weren't being identified by the trucks.
right, I see what you mean.
It's the oil, it's the
Yeah.
blah, blah,
It's the
blah,
pieces
blah,
parts.
blah, blah.
Yep.
That
Well, we should
isn't
put something in
dedicated
there,
to
tell them to
just,
stop buying tire chains, one or the other.
just take it out and not put anything in, huh?
Well, we should probably, if that's where the tire chains go, we should probably make it not 2,000.
We should probably make it not 0
Right. But we have 2,000 for
next.
this next year.
Now, I will remind you, we've had this discussion before, and on the back pages in the accounting ledger, there is a highway surplus that can never go anywhere but to the highway.
That'd be a good place to use it.
So, my point is, we do not need to pad the highway budget, because there is a surplus.
Got it.
So should we 0 out a few of these?
You can do whatever you like, I'm just saying, keep that in your little minds as you start talking about what to plug into these numbers. The fact that there is a substantial, on the books surplus for the highway department.
That's what's been charged to that supplies line
Getting close to an 8.
last year. Some of it may be right to be in there, some of it may not be right to be in there, but that's where that $6,000 came from last year in that all equipment, where's my sheet?
Franklin Auto.
Yeah, that's little stuff. I
Yeah.
mean, that is what it is.
Connectors and, there wasn't the chains.
No.
We try to run the chains into the individual, but you know what? I mean, when you buy a big load like you did, then you can split it out between the three because it has in the past ended up in this column. But anyway, you budgeted 2,000, you spent 6. This is what he put in as all equipment, supplies. That, whatever number we just looked up there, that supplies part line. I've lost my pages.
And which one to look at? Totally confused.
Okay.
So we leaving that at 0?
Supplies.
I have
Use it
no
out
idea.
of the surplus?
What, all supplies? Yeah. I think we should put at least the 2,000 in that we've had in there this year.
Yeah,
Second.
that makes sense.
2,000?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you asked about what, the international? Is that the one you asked about, Rob?
No, I was just noting that on like for some of them, there is a number in there. But like the Sterling,
The
yeah, the
Sterling's
International,
gone.
Sterling's gone. But the 2011 truck 9, there's nothing in there.
Well, there's nothing, if you look, there's nothing in there for 3. There's nothing in there for 9.
3 has 2,500 in it. Supplies and parts.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, it's just the International.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah,
Oh,
and I
that's
don't know if it was just missed.
Most likely.
So should we just move the $7,000
Oh,
over?
no, I think, quite frankly, I think the question with the international, why that's a 0, is we didn't know why it went so far over budget. The prior year, it was budgeted at 7,000, went to 11,400. And what was the issue with that? As we were trying to figure out what to put in for parts and supplies.
I'll tell you.
Is that?
I don't know, but I'm getting so much paper here, I have no idea what I'm doing. I don't want that anymore.
I'll just do one.
So we're gonna have a paper party here in a minute.
Make nice paper airplanes.
I can't make those, they don't fly. They do a
I'll give you
nosedive. Okay. Mine never fly right.
That's, no, that's the Freightliner. I was thinking.
Okay, so he still has to put in the interest and the payments on those, okay, so it should. Alright.
I hear that copier running, so hopefully we'll get another couple dozen pieces of paper up here.
We're gonna have a lizard over in that part of the room. With the little big bear.
I only did it once, so you wouldn't get confused. Who wants it?
Kathy.
I'll look at it. And then pass it.
Is this yours or mine? I'm confused as to whose it is. I don't have that page. You said, dude, that must be yours. I've got that page.
I'll keep it.
Okay,
Draw it.
Chappelle Tractor is where we get the change in.
Yeah.
yes.
Yep.
Okay.
You got $2,500 in tires.
Mm-hmm.
And Chappelle Tractors, you got chains, you got, actually, you got more than 2,500 in tires. One of these has got to be wrong. I'm going to put this in. We got 1,240 in tires, 1,240 in tires, and 1,240 in tires. It's 2, 4, maybe 6 tires. Maybe we do put 600 in tires. That seems fine. And then the rest is nickel and dime.
So it appears to be in tires.
A lot of it's in
Yeah,
tires.
it's a lot of
and
things in
chains.
tires and chains.
Well, didn't he just say, he said if that is Ed's truck, which, that what we
It
decided.
does go the furthest.
It goes the furthest, it's the one that chews through the chains, it chews through the tires, it chews through.
If a lot of that chewing through the goddamn tires is they don't ever tighten the chains up after they put them on ones.
I'm just saying, that's probably why that truck is
Over.
is
yeah.
over, right. That's what was.
Yeah, because there's not, I was thinking there'd be a big number for some repair that we had forgotten about, but it's all.
It's all tires and chains. So
The
we're
other copy, Steve, because I don't want.
pretty number we try to put in there.
I can give you one for each one of these if you want. But yeah, that's
Big
just
rest
a-
out of surplus.
It's an older truck. It's now, you know, if we sell the Sterling, this is the next one in line. I mean, for big trucks.
Oh, you mean we aren't gonna have to fix the power lights anymore?
If we get rid of it.
Oh, that's the Freightliner.
That's
a
a- yeah,
Oh, that
that's-
is a
that's
Freightliner, that's right. It's
Yeah,
not the
that's a whole
international.
fire under the hood issue you
Yeah.
don't want to get into.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so Rob suggests leaving 7,000 in the line. Anybody
Oh,
else?
for 9?
For 9, yes. Leave 7,000 in?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
All right, any other holes in the equipment?
7,000. Yeah.
We added tonight, we added 7, 9,
50.
yeah, 59,000 to the equipment bottom line. Anything else that anybody
We go for
sees?
60?
Actually, you're over 60. You got 7 and 2 is 9.
Right.
And then you got 50 is 59, and then you added another 9 because you got principal payments on the equipment, roughly.
But
like
we didn't
one.
add that tonight, I said what we added tonight, don't be picking. Don't be picking.
Okay. That's fine.
Okay, how do we get a report? Okay, that's the, now, so did we finish the highway?
I hope so.
All of
I
it?
think we did.
Okay, then let's go to the general fund. Oh, I know there's holes all over the place here. Okay. Sale of town owned money, that's all revenue, I don't want the revenue page. Okay, so Craig's salary will fill in then, that'll be automatic. Again, so will the associated employer costs. We were gonna look up a number on the solar, what we're
Yeah,
paying
no,
now.
that's, we'll take care, you and I will do that one. I haven't done it
Okay.
yet.
Wyndham Regional, you had that one.
VLCT.
VLCT, Insurance, I can't believe we spend that much for our insurance, but that's okay. I don't know what kind of trouble we could get into. So 19, that's the town report. Legal expenses, this is gonna be more than 5,000. That's all right. Okay, so there's all that.
Do we wanna put something in for travel and meetings?
No, because
No.
we don't actually do any travel.
Speak for yourself.
Well, I do a whole lot of travel. You know how many times I've been to court that I don't charge you for?
I thought you weren't doing that anymore.
I said I wasn't going to, but they keep postponing the stupid hearing. So I go to court anyway. Is there anything that do we want to take a stab at putting something in for Becky?
No.
Okay.
That's directly derived from,
Well,
the
I
only
understand-
thing we have is the miscellaneous employer's expense that goes in there, but, we already take care of that.
It looks it.
Let's see, tax employers, put 1,200 in there, that's fine.
Okay.
And the rest of it is driven from the penalties.
Right.
And we'll see what she collects. The auditors are done, the listers have to be done, listers and finance and town clerk.
Okay, the listers, we've got a paper.
Yep.
That's one of these way down at the bottom papers. There's the papers. Please read the note on the front before you look at the numbers. And I know you did a printout, a comparative on that. Where the heck did that go?
And Mike and I talked about it, and he said they would be happy to come to the board, and I said that you guys probably would want to talk to them, so, that was even before I looked at this, so I'm imagining your next meeting, you may want to invite the listers to
Okay, so we
to
have,
come. So, I mean, they're willing to come and, explain. I don't know what happened to the other page.
It says here we have to go see them.
did it really? I didn't read that. I didn't read
Visit
that.
our
Last
office.
slide.
Tuesdays and Fridays.
I think not. Nope.
Okay, if you got, it's the one with the little yellow on the top, okay, yeah, see? Surprised that one.
Okay, so we can go down the list here with the listers. There was in the actual, or in this year's budget, there was 23,000. Thus far this year, they have spent 7,000. They're asking for an increase of $3,000.
They're 6 months into the budget.
They spent 7,000.
Yeah, Irv should have that yellow page there too somewhere.
Did you have, you can see, here's the.
Yeah, I read it somewhere.
So I don't think there's any way that we should even remotely, even though they're going to be helping with the mapping, et cetera, I don't see if there's going to be any additional expense. They're already coming closer to using their money now.
Right.
So what if we said 18,
You wanna cut it?
Second.
to 18,000?
Okay, just a word of caution. We've done this once before,
It was up to the town voters.
and they voted to override and to put the money back.
And we still had a short town meeting, so
We have-
they can vote on it again next year if they would like to.
The facts are in the numbers, we're not making up the numbers, we have actual numbers
2
here,
years, well, whatever year it was.
and they still don't spend their money.
Right. Well, I'm not disagreeing. I'm just saying how it'll go.
Right, I don't understand the need for an increase
I was
when
gonna say,
you didn't reach
I would
last
stay
year's
with the
number.
same goddamn thing you had last year.
Well, and they're on
As long as we
target.
get the figures right in front of us that says this is what they spent,
You mean last year, no, what's currently budgeted?
$15,488.
Right, and they're on target to do that again this year, it's
Right.
15,488. And they had 22.5, they spent 15.4. Now they've got 23, essentially the same. They're on track to
So
spend
Mike could put in
15.4.
60 hours a week, and the other guys could put in 5 hours a week, and we still wouldn't exceed the 20,000, or even 18.
Probably not. I'm not gonna calculate that out for you, but no, you'd come, yeah, you'd probably not. I mean, they're on target this year, the same as they were last year. I don't know if they have any projects coming up this spring, per se, on this year's budget. But according to the printout so far, for the first 6 months, they're only $7,000 into wages.
This is probably also assuming a raise.
No, maybe.
Bet you it
What
is.
happens when you assume?
Well, I didn't say. I said, this is assuming. I'm not assuming. This is assuming. So does somebody want to plop out a number?
I did,
I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
18,000.
18. So we're gonna go backwards, that's gonna be fun. Okay.
It's realistic.
I don't
Yeah.
disagree.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, it's just gonna be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, they're asking for 3,000 more than is budgeted for this year. The 3,000 puts them right around 18, based on what they spent in 17.
So the one thing I would suggest, since we're doing this now and having this discussion, that going into town meeting, we have an up-to-date
Budget status.
budget status report to be able to defend the fact that we're not even close to.
But you also do have these, I mean, in the town report, there will be 2016 budgeted, 2016 actually spent, 2017 that we're in, so on and so forth. So yes, you will have those comparatives coming back to say, look, you asked for 23 in 1 year of 28, you're still well under 20.
Right.
In this
Yeah.
case, 15. So 20 was the year they had 5 people in there. So anyway, yes, I think, yeah.
Okay, then clerical issues, they didn't ask for any.
I'm actually, if that's been, and I think that's been more than 3 years now, I just put an eliminate against clerical. If that's okay, we'll just drop that line out.
That'd probably be
If it's been 0
good.
for 3 years, because they don't do that. Trying to reduce wherever we can. It doesn't
Asking
disappear,
for
just so.
supplies.
Wait,
So they left 1,000 for. That's
What's
hard to read.
the, 1,000 for supplies and 1,000 for map expenditures?
Well,
Yep.
They're gonna make the new maps, is what they're asking.
no, there's some kind of new mapping system coming in.
Right.
It has something to do with GPS coordinated.
GIS, it's GIS mapping, and the state is doing it for us. It's just they need to be able to, it will cost a little money to, and we do have the software license, but they need to keep it updated, because every time somebody sells something, they change the borders and the battery lines, and they've got to go in there and adjust it.
Right.
Somehow or other. I mean, there is a continual, once a year, it's got to be done right for the state.
So in
Well-
other words, so I think if we left $1,000 out, which is what they've asked for.
Okay, that
that's-
makes sense.
That's probably,
So 1,000 for supplies, 1,000 for maps.
then the computer expense, they're asking for 1,000, so there's their new computer.
Mm-hmm.
Although maybe not, maybe that's the software. Because they have
So did they put
equipment.
1,000 on the map?
Yes. Computer expense, so this is probably the support, or maybe that was the
That-
support they were asking for the,
Oh, for the,
yeah.
somebody to come in?
Computer expenses, yeah. Computer expenses may rise because we've been told we may need at least one new computer, so that's where they put it. We need to have a computer person who can come into the office and not just remote check on.
Yeah, under equipment, which is the second from the bottom. they're
Today,
only
it's
asking
at
for
500.
Right. So,
Well, if they were just replacing one of the towers in there, they don't need much more than 500.
I know that computer expense that was 500 that went to 1,000 was last year. Everybody took a big hit on a lot of maintenance on all the computers, and where the budget could, you could plug a number in, you plug the number in against it. So that, this may or may not be an absolute accurate reflection, but those costs last year to fix what we had in the front offices.
Well, then, last year was the year we put the new server in. We networked the whole thing, we put the new server in.
Oh, 3 new backup battery packs.
I understand.
I know, yeah, there was.
I'm just saying that,
Well, there's a separate line for software licenses,
And there's a couple of those. We do,
and there's a line for tech support.
right. And
So,
so that's,
And Nemrick wants $500 now for.
so is the computer expenditure, so that must be the computer, buying a computer? Or is that an equipment? I'm confused.
it should be equipment,
Right,
evidently not. Although they took equipment to 500.
right.
So the only equipment they have in that office are the computers. The copier,
And a copier.
but
3430.
We have 13 lines, 6 of them with 0 on them, but when we get over to what they're asking for, there's only 2 with zeros. The rest have numbers. So half the stuff last year, they didn't spend any money on.
Well, the lister dues, that's fixed, fairly fixed, right?
Kinda.
Which was not in this year's budget?
Or last year's.
Hmm.
No, I think that was a National Association type thing. That isn't something that is required that the town pay. We would have discretion over that.
Oh, okay.
And there's travel and meetings, which, you know, again, we've had that discussion.
Just once.
Only once?
Per meeting. Per hour of the meeting.
Yeah, everything else seems pretty well level funded except the equipment and the lister's dues.
What about notices? There's 0 on notices for 500 for 3 years now, or budgeted for 3 years.
Well, but that's assuming that they're going to have to put any type of legal notices in for hearings or whatnot, something in the paper, and they haven't had to do that.
Yeah, that seems like it's
For
just
how many years?
I
It's
don't
just
know.
on luck.
Well, we were just talking earlier about putting crooked numbers in here and never using them.
Yeah.
But just like legal expense, there hasn't been any legal expense, but the minute you have some type of an appeal hearing, then suddenly you're into legal expenses, and that should not be the selectmen's pay,
Yeah.
that should be the town. Or that should be the listers. Computer expense, okay, we're looking, 2 guys, which is support, NIMRIC. What do we call them, was it?
I just did those 3 or 4, whatever that is, computer expenses, yeah, 2 hours at Nimmer.
Right, and contractual would be software, that'd be Apex, that's where how would Jurai end up in there?
Contracted services, private, whatever, that was, he was a hired,
Okay.
so that's
There's
200.
software is 344, tech support is
They didn't do anything on tech support for some reason.
no,
Take that back, next page.
NIMRIC.
Yeah. And I don't know why we have a delinquent tax collector.
Because there was a delinquent tax collector to NIMRIC that was credited.
Right, yeah, okay, right.
So there was
Right, that was
absolutely-
a wash.
So there was absolutely nothing done in tech support for the listers last year.
Right.
Right.
So what would you like to do?
Anybody else want to say I got it?
A copy of anybody
Yeah,
else?
I mean, just, that gives you those 4 or 5 or whatever computer stuffs.
But there is absolutely nothing on there from a computer standpoint that actually talks about the equipment itself.
Right.
It's all either NIMRIC support or 2-wired guard support.
Yeah, I didn't get down to equipment, but I guess I could, I don't think there's anything in equipment, there's nothing in equipment that's been in but last year.
I already have those pages.
Throw them.
I'm going to make the paper, I am going to. So what would you like to do
Well,
with computer expense and with,
well, if the computer is, yeah, I mean, if the computer expense is that, if that's the fund to get the new computer, then you get a new computer, it's fine.
That was a different noise.
But then I don't know why the equipment needs to go up by 500,
no, by 250.
or by 250 rather, up to 500, I know. Unless there's some piece of the GIS thing.
Well,
we're
I also
gonna
tell
have
you,
to
I
buy.
can also tell you, looking at these numbers, that the contractual, that things are not in the right place, they're not in the right lines.
No, and they don't necessarily understand what all these details are. Elaine certainly doesn't, I don't think anybody does. I mean,
Because all the NIMRIC and 2-wired guys should be on the contractual services.
Right,
how it gets mixed up is a matter of accounting, but
Right.
basically we budgeted, I mean, Budgeted 28, they spent 18. This year they budgeted 30, so far you've spent 7. Next year they want to budget 33.8. And it just, this is going up exponentially when the costs aren't necessary. And yes, they do have some higher costs next year. They do want some computer equipment or some software or something in one of those lines. And they do want to do some expanded mapping projects, which is good. They need to do it, but.
So actually, with dropping the wages down,
What's it say in the bottom right-hand corner?
33.8 without maps.
Because I remember Mike had that discussion with
Right.
me, when they found out what it was going to cost, they were
Right.
going to come back after the first of the year and add the maps to that. So I can guarantee you that number, even that 33.8 that they're looking at right now, they're going to ask for more than that.
And that maps are not, we did, well, you know.
They're
where
not
we-
talking about the big maps up front.
I know they're not, but maps aren't cheap. Even though the state's gonna pick up the lion's share of the funds, I hope.
I think one of the things that's getting difficult to deal with are these breakdowns, because we know the lines aren't correct. You know, so looking across, something that's computer expense of 500, they spent 1,000, it doesn't really give you a comparison if the things that are listed in that line are not appropriate.
Right, exactly.
I think what you really need to take a look at is the bottom line and decide from the bottom line. The wages is the biggest portion of that.
Right, so with the wages taking down to, what did we say, 18,000?
18.
18, we're now at 25.8. Bottom line, with just that change.
The office last year cost $18,954.34.29.
Yes, call it 19. So they're asking for,
And this is gonna be a more ambitious year, so I think we do need to add 10% or 20% or wherever they argue that they need to increase the amount of labor they put in and the other expenses and whether they need new equipment or not. But essentially double what you did, it seems,
it seems excessive.
well, yeah, you spend 18, now you want 33, 34.
And again, the maps piece will come back. There'll be a number that comes into the mix at the last minute.
Right, and again, most of that is, we anticipate being picked up by the state anyway.
No, we don't know that.
No.
No,
No.
otherwise they would have given us an estimate, and he could not do that.
Oh,
He
okay.
pulled me aside and specifically said, what do I do with the fact I don't have a number on the maps?
Oh,
I mean, I'm inclined to take the base office expenses, pick the 18 for the wages, figure a certain amount of computer expense into it, and travel, which we know we're gonna get hit with, figure that in, and then just leave that as the bottom line until we find out what's going on with the maps.
Sounds good.
yeah, I like that.
So if we do 18 plus another 1,000 for travel, that's 19. The computer
So we're leaving, you
support.
want to leave out supplies and maps?
Well, we're not really leaving it out.
No,
There's-
no, no, I
I
understand.
think what we need to
You
do
don't
is
want me to type
combine
those
them.
in?
No.
As a whole, okay, so I'm just gonna cross them out here right now. So 18 and then travel.
Only because travel, we know this isn't gonna change.
Yes.
Yep.
And we know that, well, yeah, like,
Why don't we, can we, rather than putting it in as separate computers, because nobody knows what the hell these different things are. Computer expense, equipment expense,
Well, as I say, it was
software expense,
It was
or
made up by a
license.
lot of bookkeepers ago, and I guarantee
Yeah.
you have more information in front of you right now than Mike and Gene and Dick had back there when they were looking at these. So what they
Right.
think of as computer expense may or may not be a reflection of what's been charged.
Right,
the last
exactly.
5 years. So I mean, and because the stuff doesn't come pre-coded from the office, I mean, Elaine gets a bill, she puts it in, I put it in.
yeah, you put it in wherever
You
it
put it in
seems to
where-
make the most sense.
Exactly, and you look at the bottom line and say, you know what, as
Yeah.
long as it's on the right page and the right
So
department,
why
sort of.
why don't we look at roughly $21,000 just as base? and then find
For
out what
the
happens
office,
with
and
the
then
map.
divide it up how we have to.
Well, once the maps come in, we get a final number on the maps, and then we can adjust it. But at the bottom line, including the wage change, will be 21,000.
Okay.
Does that sound good?
Yep.
Sounds good.
Because that's very much in line with what they spent in last year.
Mm-hmm.
And then we know there's gonna be additional expense. Finance office, what do we do here? Oh, that's all zeros.
Yeah, and that basically raises the cost of the office 10% over what they spent. Should be.
Okay, so that the treasurer tax collector's in 11.5, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And then the health insurance is in there, which is what we talked about.
Yep.
Just, yep.
Yeah.
There's the bond. The training line for the bookkeeper, I think is one area that we actually need to
We should
probably
put
bump
some,
up.
yeah.
Regardless of what happens, I think we're going to
Yep.
continue, and I'm guessing that 3,000 is going to be a good place to start,
Mm-hmm.
just as a baseline
Yep.
to have available for however that office shakes out. So 3,000 for training for bookkeeper, correct? Okay. Is there any other, is the outside audit's good? Other bookkeepers still there? Auditor's budget, that's not one more year
No,
before that can
that's
go.
another one that zeroes out later on.
Do we want to do something with the outside audit?
No,
Oh,
we
that-
got another 1 year on the contract for that.
Yeah, that's,
How about the other municipal bookkeeping?
yeah, we did 8.3 on that. We left that at 8.3.
Mm-hmm.
I think this one was pretty well, I mean, that line, training bookkeeper needed the 3,000, obviously, because that's what it was, and I don't think it's gonna change much. This one was pretty well from before.
Okay. And the clerk's office had everything but the wages in it, you'll be able to plug that in now. That'll be a function.
415.
That'll change that, and then let's bring up the retirement on that. So, oh, the wages went in there, that's what they're doing.
No, those two numbers needed to be plugged in.
Okay, the planning commission, did we ever get an answer? Didn't we ask them what their maps were for?
Yeah, it's gonna be for this Act 174, whatever this is over here, and it's, again, it's like the listers, it's all a MRF kind of, sometimes it applies and sometimes it doesn't. But they will come to your next meeting, or somebody will, potentially, to explain that, if you want them to.
Do we want to know, or we just want to give them the money for the maps?
I think we should know.
Okay.
What's the planning technical line?
There's gonna be, it's like Wyndham Regional asking
Oh,
consultations, kind
yep,
of.
gotcha.
Right.
Is there anything else with the planning commission,
I don't see anything.
other than the maps? The only other question I have on that is the way we've made it into town plan/projects. The town plan's just been approved, it's good for 5 years, so that means the focus is on the word project. What projects are we looking at?
Well,
Yeah.
again, this is one, village designation is another. They've got a number of things that they have been looking at, but the town plan includes something like 60 things that the select board and the planning commission and others are supposed to be looking
Working
at.
on, yep.
Whether they will or won't, I don't know. I mean, they have to be in there as part of your overall.
But it's a dollar amount, and with a dollar amount, there's usually something driving it.
Yeah, this was a guess. I mean, it became, do you want to put 2,500 aside for just for the town plan, the future town plan, which is now 8 years out, 7 years out? Or do you want to use that line as well, change the nature of it to include other projects? So if you're basically setting up a reserve, which that town plan tends to go to, so that you accumulate money so that you spend 10,000 on a new town plan 5 years or 8 years out. You know, it becomes kind of a holding. Or do you want that money to be available for other kinds of big projects that you might get into? And we changed, I mean, we talked about it and we changed the description a little bit so that it would include any other avenues that they wanted to go down. Again, this can be something that the chair and members can come and explain to the select board. I don't know that they have definitive plans at this point. I just know that they want to do more than the previous planning commissions have done. And they do think that there are going to be some expenses incurred. I mean, part of it, there is a fear that, you know, with recent land purchases, we are looking at maybe some wind energy projects that are coming into town. The town of Wyndham spent over $50,000 just on legal expenses. We don't obviously need to do that. We're not going to get anywhere with that. I don't think that's coming to fruition. But there are reasons for a planning commission to be, well, I mean, to stay abreast of some of these things, to go to some of these conferences, to gather information and to hire people for a few $100 or a few $1,000, whatever necessary, in order to get some information, in order to advise the select. I mean, the working relationship needs to be improved. Hopefully, they can do things that are productive and meaningful.
Okay, and then we're right back into the lawn care,
I will split that out somehow. We'll probably put all the, I think the lawn care should all go to the common, I think is what we talked about.
that would be fine.
Yeah.
Repair and maintenance, again, there's money every year in the budget. We already have heard about our little unusual project downstairs. What would you like to do for next year?
You also have our money, which came in last year, which we now,
Yeah.
we now have that we're setting. I mean, not that
much-
it's set aside.
How much was, no, I know it's not set aside. How much was it?
70.
Well, it's set aside, it's its own bank account, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it's ours, it's to do.
I
as
understand
we-
that, but
right.
it's separated from the general fund.
I do believe that it is. I do believe I'll have to go find it, but I do believe it's still separate. I think it's at River Valley, and I do believe it's around 70,000.
So there's money available if we want to do some kind of a major project. Like if I could find out where the porch roof is gonna fall in, that'd be really nice to know, don't you think, Art?
Where the what?
Whether the porch roof is gonna fall in,
Yeah.
whether the balcony is going to be the first floor instead of the second floor.
And
And,
unless,
Maybe heat upstairs
balcony,
separate.
unless you got, find another exit,
yeah,
forget it.
well, maybe a real short trip down.
Put a fireman's pole in.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we're gonna have a hole, we could.
I mean, I'm inclined to think we should keep at least the 10,000.
Well, the only thing I say, if we're gonna ask for this money, again,
We gotta spend it.
We
We're
have to
gonna
start,
spend it.
yeah, we have to start doing some
Can't
stuff.
keep sitting on it.
Yep,
well, we're
I
not
agree.
sitting on it, it's going back every year,
Yeah,
but
no,
every
but I
year
mean.
we raise
you
it
can't-
and don't
can't-
do anything.
Can't
Yeah.
keep asking for it and
Right.
not doing nothing with it.
Exactly. So if we
Right.
put another 10 in there, and like Craig said, the RDAG money is now available, and that could be used for any major repair work on the town hall that we want, a project we wanted to take on. So that's available. So if you put 10 in there, that'd make roughly 80 available.
10,000.
Okay, and then the electricity, we need to.
We need to work out something in the electricity, but
Yeah, but that's,
for budget purposes.
but this is the town hall, then we'd say.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
that we were gonna take those lines out, we can't take them out.
We can't take them out. No, you leave them at zeros because all the electricity shows up on page 6 under municipal.
I know,
Right.
it's just counting the number of years until we can actually get rid of those
Yeah.
under this specific year.
It's gonna be a little while.
And there's the propane. And the telephone. We don't have a telephone.
We don't have a
number,
telephone.
Because we were talking about upgrading the system.
Right.
And that's got to happen.
Well,
Well, would that come out?
I was
of-
gonna say, telephone should be the cost of running the telephones, which is about $1,500 or $1,600. That's your long
Right,
distance
exactly.
calls line, that's your service. But in terms of the equipment,
No, This
Okay.
isn't equipment. This is
This is through the internet.
this was the possibility of going voice over the internet
Right,
as
okay.
opposed to
Yep.
hardline into the town hall. In which case, it was going to be a bigger number than
Yep.
just how much money do you spend on phone calls.
Right.
Got it. Forgot.
So, is that something we still want to
Yes,
pursue? Do we
Yes.
want
Yeah,
to put some
absolutely.
money into that? It's expensive regardless,
yeah, but it's,
or we could use
I
the
think it's
RDAG
worth
money
it.
for that.
I was just
I'm
gonna
gonna
ask
put
if
it
we
there.
can, I mean, we have the town hall fund.
We gotta fix
Could we-
downstairs, it's gotta get done.
We have to do that, we have to do the phones.
Yep,
So
so,
we really need to look at the porch.
and I would think 80 would cover those two items.
Yeah, I would think. Right.
No clue.
So let's leave the telephone as the money to run the telephone. And look at the other,
For just,
the other fund to fix the
for just
system.
for just telephone calls.
Right. Which is what's in there right now, right?
Well, just for the clerk's office.
More or less, yeah.
Isn't that just the clerk's office?
No, I
Well,
thought-
there's, it's anybody who makes a call, but yeah, it's mostly the clerk.
Okay.
Listers, I don't make calls very often.
But it's in
So I
the,
know long distance.
the municipal town hall, right? Yeah. Okay.
Alright. So we'll leave the 15 in there. Excuse me. Okay, that's the new number for rescue. Constable, we decided to leave that pretty much the same, except our liability insurance went up. Law enforcement, we decided to do a special article on.
Yep. That's right.
We had a long town meeting. Emergency management, he asked for more than 1,000.
Yeah, you wanted
Yeah.
3,000. I just didn't put that in. I don't know if you want to talk to him or not. A lot
Except for
of-
the lockboxes installation.
No, the
No, it hasn't.
lockboxes actually pay for themselves, or come pretty close to that, they're not that expensive. But there are some communication issues that emergency management is trying to address with others. And I don't know the first thing about it, so I mean, that was where, a lot of it came in, that he was looking at. I don't think it's gonna be the full $3,000, but, we've always put a budget there, it hasn't been spent out. Tried to make it revenue neutral, and we now have a director who would like to do a little bit of something. I remember when the budget was considerably bigger, and we still didn't spend it. So, but I don't know, you may want to talk to Sherwood about it.
Not over that amount of money. Why don't we put 2,500 in there and just see how it shakes out? Forest fire, we haven't had in the last few years, we haven't had to pay out any. Do we want to keep the 35 in there for
No,
the
I
forest
think the
fires or
last
just take
meeting
it
was.
out?
Yeah, we decided
at zero.
Just to completely take it out?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it's like other things, it's like the 10,000 that you raised. Unless it goes back as a dedicated surplus,
Right.
it just gets morphed into the general fund.
Town keeper's the same way though, when you get down to it, but.
Well, the pound keeper actually that's Wyndham
It's
County.
Wyndham County, right?
That's the contract for Wyndham County.
It's not showing as Wyndham County.
Well, I believe that's where that 300 goes, is the Wyndham County contract that we have
Okay,
for
all
holding.
right.
I think that is at expense. There's no other dedicated for Wyndham County that I know of.
What do you think about our, all right, with 300?
Are these the new numbers from the fire department?
These are the numbers that they gave, and let's see, did I take out electricity? No, I didn't, so I'm gonna take out the electricity. Change that to something else. Fix that. But those are the numbers that Glenn presented when he was here. I didn't change them, I just plugged it in.
So that'll be reduced by 8, so it's 49,050.
I think we were gonna ask the question what the 11.6 was for new equipment.
What specific equipment they were looking at?
Oh, right, yeah.
Isn't that those rebuilt?
Scott.
So wasn't that Scott Pads?
Yeah.
We got into trouble with those a year ago.
Yeah, we're not buying more of those. We actually, I think they got all they needed on that. I'm not sure, I don't know if they need more or not.
The Scott packs?
Yeah, we spent 25 or 28 on those.
Right.
I mean, they wiped out their budget and then they dipped into their own to make up the difference. I don't think that's for stone tax, but we can find out, we can ask.
I mean, more than anything, whether they have a plan for what equipment they're going to buy. Because that's a substantial increase over what they had. Okay. So that all looks like it's pretty well been filled in. We're moving down to municipal costs. Wages for the sidewalk, that should probably stay.
Sounds like we might have a backup for the sidewalk here.
Between $5 and $750. Assuming we're gonna have any more than we had. Or
Right.
is it last year's? You have to look at last year's.
Leave it at 5.
May as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's some municipal electric. I have no idea how close we are on that.
And that covers all the electric for
That's everywhere.
everywhere, right?
Yeah. Well, you'd have to actually.
I have to do a
the
budget,
math.
do a budget status on that and see how it works out. And then it
So
gets
that
into,
takes care of all the electrics down, street light. We decided at this point in time to zero it, but to leave the line in. Is that correct?
well,
Because
yeah,
we know
no.
we're gonna get hit.
Right, I mean, this is actually the first year we've actually had municipal electric. The streetlights are okay probably for another 2 years, so.
But they'll stay zero.
Yeah, they stay at 0.
All right, so then you have repair and maintenance for the sidewalks. Why do we have streetlights in twice?
It's 15, 16 street
One was
lights.
15, 16, I don't know why.
Can we
Take
get-
something out of that.
Can we get rid of one of them?
76. Yeah.
You don't need two.
No, I agree, I'm not. I'll take care of it.
So as soon as we get the numbers on the electric, then we'll finish that section out. Town barn, town garage, we kind of went over that. Supplies, raising 1,000, spending $35. There was no need to keep finding $1,000.
Agreed.
Insurance, that was a relatively close number. Repair and maintenance, again, same thing. Electricity shouldn't be in there anymore. Fuel oil, seems to be about right. Telephone, computers, that has to be cleaned out once a year, otherwise it's a fire hazard. And Wyndham Solid Waste. How close are those numbers?
That number is the number that you received in the mail from the person until it gets approved on January 4th, and I don't know, but that's the number while staying open. It's 14,000 if they close.
If they close?
Well, if there's a shutdown of the activities there, then we end up paying for our share of closing costs. As
And
they,
they voted the other night at the public hearing to go with that, the lowest figure.
yeah, and
Which would be
again,
10,000.
there's a board of directors meeting on the 4th in which you're gonna ratify that or do
Yeah,
something.
we ratified.
But our
that.
assessment was 11,000, whatever that number is, and I put that in.
10,000 something for town, assessment.
Well, I got 11,250 on their sheet, but yeah, it's right there. It's on there.
I know, it was over 10.
Uh, 10,721, is that what your 721, or?
Yep,
Okay.
So that-
I can run that number, 10, call it 10,750.
For the recycling contract?
No, that's
When it's all solid waste.
Assessment?
Yeah,
The recycling contract is with Triple T, right?
we're talking about a contract. Wages for the
Okay,
attendant,
so 10,750.
contractors, supplies, insurance, Chipping fees. Are we going to try to separate out the recycling versus the,
Yeah,
Tipping fee?
we actually already, I do believe did that. Let me just take a look and see where we are here.
Yeah, it'd be nice to have separate line items.
well, they're already separated. You've got tipping fees.
Well, the recycling contract we're into right now, she was merging them because it was all kind of going to the same place. We already separated out the recycling, the current budget status report, if I can print one. The recycling contract budgeted at 16 now has some significant charges against it because they've been picking up our recycling cans. The tipping fees, on the other hand, is just the compactor.
Oh,
And that, if I do that, that's okay. I think both these budget numbers are okay.
Just
Last year
as
was-
they were last year's.
Right. Last year we spent 13.8 on garbage, basically, driving it in. This year we have a budget of 15, and I think we're okay on that, and so next year is 15. Don't see any changes in that. The recycling is brand new, and we're doing that, but I think 16 is gonna be fine on that budget for the hauling of paper and tin.
All right, and then we didn't plug in any regular supplies on the common.
Yeah, does the tipping fee figure into that
Yeah.
recycling?
Not under the recycling. Well, yeah, for the hauling, Triple T's hauling of it, yes.
Yeah, but you still gotta figure top of that per ton.
Yeah, well, we are. I mean, that all comes into the recycling contract. It's the hauling and the $45 for the per ton or
Yeah,
whatever
but
it is.
that's changed, hasn't it?
Yeah, but not enough to make a difference. I don't actually have a number from Triple T. I knew it was gonna go up 2% or 1% or something like that. It'll be covered in the 16.
Well, they were trucking, it went up a lot more than that.
Really? Okay, I haven't heard anything from them. I've got to call
But,
them.
no, I just was kidding, that's the only reason I
Yeah.
brought it up.
But we're well on target with that number, which we made up last spring when we got into this. We're well on target to stay in on
Of course,
that 16.
that'd be good for, the contract is good for a year, right?
The contract that we're in is good until July 1st, and we'll be getting into a new contract, with this new budget.
That's why we may see the change. See what's happened since they've gone to this mixed recycling, all in one bin,
Single stream.
they can't find a market for it.
Dig a hole.
That's about what I guess Casella is doing with it.
That's why everyone got out of single stream so long ago, is because there was no market for
But
it.
but it's also in part why we raised the price of the bag from $2.50 to $3.50.
Yep.
I mean, we do have a
Oh,
revenue.
no, I'm not
Yeah,
saying
no, I
that.
do. I do, we do have a revenue stream to help cover.
But the thing
some of
is
it.
that while they were getting some return on it, now they can, and of course the market went to hell in China. So they ain't
Well, yeah, the
simply that.
state hasn't helped a bit
No,
by
no,
pushing
yeah,
this through.
so a lot of things entered into it.
Well, is that until they notify us of what it's going to be? I mean, I guess we could always call before we finalize the
Well,
budget.
yeah, we can.
To get a
That
rough idea.
number's pretty close to being a good number. It's still in the queue because I'm still looking at where we're gonna go with dumpsters.
Right.
So we will try to hone that one down, but right now I think that's pretty close
So we
for
were
working purposes.
talking about the mowing for town hall. Is that, are you gonna put it with the common?
Yeah,
Right now
I
that's
think we
sitting
just
at
need to
zero.
have a mower. For all
Yeah,
that, because,
instead of breaking it up for,
no, because they do up at the garage too, and it just gets to be.
So that's where those 2 zeros, the supply/wages for mowing are going to go there on those 2 common lines, is correct?
Yeah.
Okay?
Let's do that.
Yeah, 'cause you mow the ball field,
Right, and there was a time.
Well, that's, okay, the lawn care, you've got lawn care common, what's the difference between that and wages for the common?
There was,
is that, well, is that,
lawn
it's
care.
not trees. 'cause it's
Lawn
not
care
trees.
common is fertilizer on the common. And lawn care and wages for the common has been 000 because it's being picked up by the town hall. Town hall mowing, wherever that is under municipal,
Right, Public Works, I think. right?
yeah,
So the
some-
lawn
some-
care is the fertilization of the.
Right,
the
that's
grass.
the actual care of the lawn, not short of mowing, trimming. But the wages for the common, we've zeroed out. Everything needs to be we hire a mower, we pay the mower. And if he's mowing municipal grass, then,
Okay, we
It's all
added
municipal grass.
additional money for the tree care, knowing that we had one, if not more, trees to replace.
to replace.
Yeah.
And then fountain care, we didn't spend much, so we just left that at 2. Or no, we put
Three.
3 gazebo maintenance is at 2.
Yeah.
Electricity, again, that's gone back. The reimbursement fund,
That we can probably zero
I
out.
was gonna say it's a lot of years at 0.
It is.
Okay, the ball field's still at 2.
General recreation should be at 1, I think, just for,
So the remains 300 in that account?
I'm sorry?
So that will.
That would be
public
300
works
again,
300,
yeah,
right?
I would leave that there. I do think that we spent that $100 last year on a concert.
Was
Maybe
it
I'm thinking
There
this
was a
year.
barbecue, wasn't it?
Maybe thinking this year, though. Yeah, it was in conjunction with something else that was going on, but I do think, maybe it was this year it was already spent. But I'd leave that number for recreation.
So again, yeah, you should have relative idea on the employer's expenses for
Yeah,
town.
they should
Right.
all remain about the same going
Right.
down the line.
Other expenses, okay, the principal stuff's all in. Debt interest. The flags. So that should be it. for
Pretty
the-
good.
Got a flag Memorial Day.
Yeah.
So if you could plug those numbers in so we could actually take a look at them.
Yeah.
Bottom line, and figure out where we're going.
We have most of the revenue numbers in already, so,
And we're going to need discussion, who do we ask to see?
right now I've got fire department, planning commission, and listers.
We didn't ask to see the listers.
Okay.
Did we ask to see the listers?
You want to see it?
We
We
don't
want
want
to
to
see
see
the
listers.
listers? No,
We don't have any
No, I
questions.
think we're good.
particularly since we were more or less
Okay.
been told that we have to talk to them, go see them.
Get your presents.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, is there any other business that needs to be handled?
No, thank you.
All right, Dan, the next meeting is currently scheduled for January 9th, 2018.
Oh,
6
do
p.m.
we want to talk about meeting Tuesday for the Sterling bid?
That's what I was just going to say, that's the next regular scheduled meeting is January 9th. Do we want to meet after, or I guess that would be right before the new year? No, right after the new year.
Right after.
Thursday. To open the bids on the Sterling or to take a look at what we have, what's your pleasure?
I think we should do it just so that, like Craig said, you know, somebody wants to buy that truck, they want to be able to use it quickly. So meet, what, Tuesday, 5:36?
January 2nd.
January 2nd.
What's the earliest that's good for everybody?
Earliest I can realistically be here is 5:30. Rob?
Hey, you know me, I'm flexible as can be. I just need to make sure Clerk reminds me.
Early?
I don't know, can't tell you until after tomorrow. When they go.
I'll let
I think you're
everybody
gonna
know
Carroll,
what shows up.
Carroll
if anything
Concrete,
else.
must come to this minute.
That'd take care of you a lot cheaper too.
You ain't kidding my ass.
So why don't we plan on January 2nd at 5:30
Sure.
to meet and to discuss any offers that we have on the Sterling? Does that
Right.
sound good?
Yep.
All right, then I'll entertain a motion to adjourn at whatever time, 8:27.
So moved. Second.
Aye.
Okay. I guess